How are we doing, folks? Welcome back to the Boardcast. We're absolutely brimming with card games for this week, aren't we, William?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We had the back-to-back release of Lorcana last weekend.
Yep, the first chapter.
Yeah, we have
for Australia.
Yeah, big one, right? Lorcana it's coming out with a new set every 2 weeks, so it's pretty hectic.
Back to back.
But also in between all of Lorcana coming out, we have Modern Horizons 3 this weekend. So big one for us. William is absolutely brimming with excitement because he's got packs in front of him of Modern Horizons.
That's double brimming. I don't know if you've picked up on that, Will.
Did I?
double brim.
I'm not great with my vocabulary. I feel like, especially on the podcast, I hear myself back on it, and I'm like, oh man.
We're like fresh out of exams as well, King. So I'm sure you're like,
my brain is a little bit fried right now.
It's a good set. Like I remember since Modern Horizons 1, and then like we have Ren 6, right?
Correct.
And then we have Modern Horizons 2, which
just
is
format
just
defining
crazy
staples right now.
And then Modern Horizons 3 is gonna be like insane. So I'm just excited to be
with these Modern Horizons sets. I think it's safe to bet that Wizards is planning for these Modern Horizons to be the biggest Magic releases per year.
Yeah, definitely. It just has so many powerful cards.
It's just got the most format defining cards. If anything like Modern Horizons 1 and Modern Horizons 2, we can probably expect Modern Horizons 3 to define formats.
Definitely. I see a lot of like a huge jump in power level as well. Any like cards that you guys are like pretty much like keen to see or keen to have in your commander decks or whatever decks you're playing? Like any cards that you're looking for? Like any.
So I'm looking through the spoiler page at the moment, and there is this very fancy boy looking bird called Nadu, the Winged Wisdom. I don't know if it's good, but look at this fancy boy.
It's like a sir.
Absolutely useless
It's
to
like
anybody on the audio podcast, but you should look him up.
They
It's
did
a
a
fancy bird.
set of art where it's...
Oh, I can make a bin chicken. I can make a bin
It
chicken
is a bin
deck.
chicken, yeah.
True. Like no, what is it? Like a council bin chicken.
So with these sets, what they do is they do...
I'll get Mark to 3D print me a bin as the deck box.
Oh, that's nice. That would be a fun part. The Australian
Australian.
deck. So with these big sets, they will get a lot of artists to do really creative arts or to do like series of arts. So we have a lot of borderless cards now. We have a lot of retro arts. But they've also done a series of, I think they're called portraits, where the legendary creatures are done in like kind of a side portrait. It's really like up and close and you see the legendary creature, just like him in the frame.
Don't mind me. I'm just opening packs while Kang's talking.
William can't help himself.
Was it like obviously as a shop and like William's got Eternal Magic, which sells cards, and we've got a shop, so we can actually open cards early. A lot of people don't realize that we can't sell it, we can't provide them to a customer, but we can like open packs and sort them out, get the rares ready for like sale and all that kind of stuff. Also, just peruse our way through some of the exciting things.
William just bought a card that I want, right? Is that Chthonian Nightmares over there?
Yeah, it's in foil, borderless foil,
big shiny.
So William just mentioned like the cards that I'm looking out for. So Chthonian Nightmares. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. It's spelled like an absolute
like
just
Cthulhu,
nightmare.
right?
Cthulhu, yeah. Like all those like weird
that makes much more
hard
sense now.
CH. Cthulian Nightmare, maybe it is.
Yeah.
The
It's like energy based, right?
Correct. It's based off one of my favorite pet cards from Magic called Recurring Nightmares, where essentially what it does is it keeps bringing creatures back out of your graveyard in that very namesake Recurring Nightmares. Keeps coming out, keeps coming back to haunt you. And it's a card you can't really play in a lot of formats because it's a little bit busted. Let's be honest. Like
it's banned in Commander, right?
I think it's banned in Commander,
Yeah.
which is already a good sign that it's banned in other formats. But what they've done is that they've decided to bring back a lot of banned Magic cards, but they balance it around a mechanical energy, which is another resource on top of Magic's normal land resource. So Chthonian Nightmares is like the old card, but it has limits of you also have to spend energy.
Yeah.
I love the idea of it. It lets me play with a card that I normally can't play with it. Has really, really sweet brand new art. Really sweet potential. So that's the card that I'm looking out for right now. So you got any fan favorites for yourself, William?
I don't really have any favorite, but anything that has ETB effect in white and red, count me in. Because that's my deck.
That's your deck right now, right?
Man, there's some like really cool stuff, and I think they're really smashing out of the park with some of the arts on it. Like I have a mono red Layla deck, and that's it's a 3-cost creature when you when it attacks, you exile top card of your library, and it's one of my favorite like decks, and that's got a new sweet new art in it. And I think previously, there was maybe a foil version of it in Commander Masters, but this is the first like old art kind of cool thing. So I'm like pretty cool, like pretty sweet on that one. But man, there's some crazy stuff. Oh, and they reprinted my boom fucking turtle. You know the turtle, the artifact turtle.
Oh yeah,
it's a foil version of that because that goes in my
In
Mega
retro.
Squirtle.
Yeah, well, it's Squirtle. Yeah, Kappa Cannoneer. Yeah, now it's legal in Modern.
Blastoise, sorry, Blastoise.
So I think that's the artifact deck is coming back in.
Man, that card
Modern
is
as well.
scary to put into like modern. It's quite a format-defining card in Legacy and really high power formats. So Kappa Cannoneer and Modern. Let's brace ourselves.
I was hoping I was going to get like an alternate art for it because who doesn't want like a fancy boy turtle? But you don't have to wait for next year.
Just look at this pack that I just opened. It's just all the faces.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
It looks nice
Crick in
with
there?
the colors.
And that's the new commander, the Uno.
We might have to take a photo after and post it on Instagram of some.
Danny's
of the
gonna
pools
take
we
a
get.
photo right
We can
now.
do live photos. We can do live updates for people. Wait, it's post on live.
Well, we just got to get those video content.
There could still be guys standing. I'll take the photo. There could be guys still standing outside. They might be able to hear us. So.
Yeah, they just outside staring at us like, oh, can I get some of that Modern Horizons?
We're like recording a little bit late this week, so it's on a Thursday night for all our listeners. We've recorded after on a Thursday, and I kicked everyone out at the end of Commander, and 40K to like get them out so we can start recording. So
Yeah, you're getting the intimate Thursday night experience at Northern Boards.
So what do you expect like in terms of like how this Modern Horizons tree is gonna like affect like the commander play, like your weekly commander play? Like you just had like commander, right? So we didn't have any like any powerful sets yet this year.
Yeah, it's true. I think a lot of our regulars are really, really keen, like just the discussions going around. And I think it's clear that there's a lot of really interesting stuff, impactful cards coming out in this set. And, there's people are pretty hyped on it. People have like, we've pre-sold a whole bunch of the commander decks, especially the Eldrazi ones. We've pre-sold the bundles and stuff like that as well. And I think pretty hyped. So I think we'll see a lot of these cards like work their way into decks over the next couple months for sure.
Oh, definitely.
I'm expecting a lot of Eldrazi for a while.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's,
And if you combine the previous Eldrazi deck from Commander Masters,
Yeah,
is that
that's a
correct?
sweet 1/2
yeah.
plus.
And then
right?
you combine it with this Eldrazi deck, you get like a massive, super.
You kind of
high
just have
power level
your
Eldrazi
deck
yeah.
built together with 2 whole precons, right?
Well, you just pick. the
Actually,
best
no,
cards
it's a little bit different, right? Because this Eldrazi is 5 colors.
5 colors, yeah.
Yeah, they've gone away completely from what Eldrazi are a creature in Magic the Gathering, where they're really based off that kind of like idea of cosmic horror.
Yes.
So they in Magic they have no color. They're from space. They're not correct. They're not exactly tangible mortal creatures.
I think the whole idea is that most things come, unless it's an artifact in Magic the Gathering, if it's like a living creature with a soul, then it embodies one of the colors.
Correct.
But I think that the Eldrazi was supposed to be so alien that it doesn't conform to the color law of
Isn't
like
like
the rest of the universe.
The Eldrazi feels like the. Have you watched the Eternals? Right, the aliens that just
Didn't
absorb
watch that
energy.
much.
A bit like that.
Yeah?
Yeah. So it's a little less consumey, like a more of like a Tyranid from 40K kind of thing, and more of like it's so alien to this universe that it doesn't conform to any of the normal constraints. That
The
universe
original
has.
naming sake, it was very Lovecraftian, right?
Yes,
Even though their
absolutely.
names like Kozilek, Ulamog, it's very like Lovecraft style themed names.
Well,
But
people can really take the piss with the Lovecraft stuff because it's outside of its scope, like it's past 30 years.
it's also
so it's public domain.
Yeah,
you know?
it's public domain.
Yeah, so anybody can have a crack at it, right? And that's why you see so many like D&D versions of it and like books and authors and stuff because anybody can just go ahead and use whatever part of it they want.
Absolutely. So they've taken these creatures famously known for being colorless, and in the commander deck, they've decided to flip the idea and made it 5 colors.
Yeah, I think it happened for the first time in Oath of the Gatewatch.
Yeah.
It's when they started that kind of thing. So you'd have those cards specifically that are colors. They have a special ability called Devoid, which means they have a color, but they don't have the color. It doesn't count as having the
They've
color.
also
So is it like having a color devoid or no color? I haven't played that kind of deck
you
before.
need colored mana to play the card, but the
counts as
identity of the
colorless.
card is colorless.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, but what if you use that in a commander deck though?
That's why they had to give the 5 color commander deck 5
Right.
colors in the actual.
So you
cost
still
line.
need the color, but to play it.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think the 5 color mandate, this one is you can either pay 2 colorless or that color. So you can effectively pay as low as 5 or as high as 10 to get onto the field.
But they've definitely juiced up the set full of just like powerful new cards. They've done a cycle of cards that can be cast without paying mana, which is always powerful when they
Yeah.
do it.
Oh, like forces card, like just
Yeah.
kind of force.
Yeah, this one's you have to sacrifice a non-token creature and then you cast it for free. So in Commander, there's a lot of strategies. You have
bazillion tokens. No, bazillion like cantrips and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be crazy though.
And generally speaking, a bunch of just brand new cards as well. They've done a bunch of like they've done a bunch of famous planeswalkers in Magic, but they start off as creatures that flip into planeswalkers.
Yeah, some of them are really cool. Like, we opened a couple for the short. Did you just open a texture foil?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got it. Look,
Look
he's
at
got it right.
that.
We're just talking about it. And
Hand it
he's,
over here. Let's have a look.
Yeah.
as we're talking about it, William opens he's at the last pack you just opened there.
William just pulled
Second
the
last.
brand new Ajani called Najani Nakadal Pariah. It's a 2 mana cat warrior that comes in with a cat warrior. One of your Cat's die, it flips into a planeswalker.
Is it texture foil?
Yeah,
it's
texture
textured foil.
on one side
It's
only.
very,
That's
very shiny.
very, very.
They've nailed
Interesting.
the
Something
borderless
different.
art. So you know how sometimes you can feel like they hand like the more exclusive cards
Yeah,
to the better artists just to be like, hey, go nuts.
It looks like that there's one texture foil per box for per collector box because the one that we opened was a Tameo.
Oh, interesting.
What's the word? A texture foil Tameo.
All right, one last pack. Is it a
Whoa.
serial
You just
number?
slam through those packs, William.
Well, it's a seasons. I don't need to like slow down. Just cut.
Any special cards outside of the texture foil you pull over there?
Nothing much. I got a Ragavan though.
I'm also excited because a while back I sold my set of medallions. In Magic, there's 5 colors and there's 5 colors of medallions. I sold the regular art a while back and I was kind of a little bit sad. But now they've re-released them with brand new art, which is absolutely nails.
Yeah, the medallions are like a core staple for Commander decks. You know, a lot of players. It was hard to get a hold of because the reprints of them were pretty lackluster, really, in the past. So the reprinting of them with some higher end versions and some lower end versions is like pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, you did get like the old.
there's a
Ragavan.
Ragavan.
Yeah.
Danny, it's a pretty crap box though.
I will say that the prices are
We should get another box to open now.
That's great for our customers, right? Because it means William's taking up one of the dodgy boxes, leaving
it's
all the good
pretty
stuff for our
crap.
regular customers.
the prices right now are also a little bit wild. I mean, obviously the set hasn't released yet, so we don't know the supply of things. I think the most expensive card is the new Emrakul, which is not surprising. Like Emrakul has
He's the
always
boss.
famously been the most powerful creature in
You have a
Magic.
new, somewhat like a new ancient tomb, right? The
Yeah,
Ugin's Labyrinth?
Ugin's Labyrinth.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's the card. And if you exile something, you get like what's it called? A ancient tomb effect on it.
Oh man, there's been so many new cards. I haven't even paid attention to some
pretty
of
cool.
those.
If you
Some
have
them have
4 of
slipped
it-
through my radar for
If
sure.
you have 4 of it in,
Look at this. It's like that's crazy. It's like the new Jet Medallion
yes.
with the eye. It looks like a Vecnus eye, whatever, but it just looks amazing.
The Gem Medallion is creates black mana, and the idea of these medallions are like a famous jewel, right? They're based off the Moxen in Magic, but kind of like a less precious stone version of it. The Gem Medallion is someone's crystal eye that's been pulled out and it's oozing black, like just blood, I'm assuming, or gore and viscera. It looks awesome.
I think so much of the benefit comes for the first time in a long time. There's a good chunk of like quite valuable cards for the player. So you know it's been up and down over the last year or so of like what sets are considered good and bad and like what the EV value of like was the like estimated value for return is. But for the first time in a while, there's quite a few cards coming out of this that are like starting at 10 plus up to the 100 mark.
People buying
those
packs,
sets need that.
Yeah, people buying packs want to pull cool cards, and a lot of times like they also want their like money back, right? Like if you're paying $30 for a collector booster, you don't want to be pulling $2 worth of cards. You want to get something out of it.
Yeah,
So-
that's right. That's right.
So-
yeah, it's not too bad. I like it. Like, there's a lot of new cards you can use it for. I think 7-point Highlander.
Correct.
So that's something that we have been doing. I think regularly.
Yeah,
right?
Back on Sundays.
Yeah.
I've been playing a lot of 7-point Highlander again. I think we mentioned it a couple episodes back in the podcast. And getting back into competitive Magic has definitely driven up my excitement. Hey, that's an Emrakul right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Danny just going through the cards that William have pulled.
Yeah, William's like not as excited as he should be. Like, you've done some pretty good stuff in here, and you've opened some money.
William's a hardcore pack opener right there, man.
It's true.
I
Like,
know.
only the most
It's hard to please me.
exclusive.
Like, if it's like a serial number, like, I'll get excited. But if it's just like an Emrakul textured foil,
I think
maybe.
you're opening at such an excessive rate compared to like even me with a store or like a regular consumer. So you probably got like pack opening burnout.
yeah, pretty much.
He's like that like foodie friend where you go somewhere like, oh yeah, these like, barbecue ribs taste pretty good. And he's like, no. If you want good barbecue ribs, you got to go
This
here.
is like a little bit 1% off.
You're like, oh man, but I like my ribs.
It's like when we go to dinner with Nem from Burger Boy, the chef, and he's he's giving like his version of it, and I'm like, oh, it's a good hot dog, man. I don't know.
Yeah, he's always like, I could make it better myself, but like, I can't. I can go here and buy it and have it. I can't expect you to make this for me, dude.
Private chef.
So I'm not even 100% sure what food this is made of.
But yeah, 7-point Highlander playing competitive Magic again is going to be actually quite excited for the new set. The timing did line up quite nicely for me as well.
Are we gonna like the next Highlander is gonna be just after the release of Modern
Yeah,
Horizons
wow,
3?
like
so
2 days after the release.
it's gonna be like exciting though. So everybody's gonna be playing new cards.
I want people
yeah.
to get creative.
Yeah.
Let's get spicy. Let's bring in some new cards to try out.
It's gonna be crazy though. People's gonna bring like some new tech. You can't even have sideboard for it. So you just play the game and then you're like, oh,
Yeah,
I don't have
no
sideboard
one bring
for it.
graveyard hate because I want to run the new Nightmares.
Did you put Highlander this week as on my week on or your week on?
I can't remember.
Yeah.
It's all over the place, right? We just kind of share Sundays.
So Highlander is gonna be the week release of Modern Horizons 3. So it's the 14th of June, I think.
Yeah, because this
That
weekend we've got the Aether Reborn draft, which I think it's going to get a little bit less numbers this week. We've been smashing it for the drafts. Like every single week we've sold out, which has been fantastic for us. You know, I think even from the inauguration of this podcast.
Yeah, drafts back on the
into
menu.
now. Yeah. It's like, so we've been getting full numbers. I think this one will be a little bit lower because people are really keen on the Modern Horizons stuff. Maybe we should have I don't know, coasted it in.
But it's masterpiece though.
Yeah, I know. That's what this is. So it's a 1 in 2,000 chance. I think that's not nothing.
So one
Better
in
than lottery.
25. It's a 25% chance. So there's a 25% chance
Per person, there's a 25% chance. You heard it here first.
Yeah, guaranteed math. Any question, send it to Eternal Magic.
and then you get like a sword of feast and famine.
What's important about these big high power sets that kind of define formats also means that cards will see play for longer, which also means there's a longer chance for the set to be valuable, which means there's a longer chance for people cracking the cards to maintain the cards that are playable and worth money.
Yeah.
So generally speaking, I expect us to be seeing like people, getting Modern Horizons 3 cards for the rest of the year. Hey, how's this for a commander card? So I was talking about the cards you can cast for 0 mana. This one seems fantastic for commander. Flare of Fortitude. It's 2 and 2 white for you may sacrifice a non-token white creature rather than pay the spell's mana cost, which is consistent with all these new cards. Until your turn, your life total can't change. Your permanents can't.
It's like a
worship. Hexproof and indestructible.
Jeez.
Yeah, just in white, right? Like white are known for their board wipes, but also now you can just kind of blank it out.
Yeah, it's pretty good. If you're really dying, then might as well just sacrifice one of your creatures, right?
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's what you're trying to achieve.
Especially someone like did a what's it called? What's that? Cradle Hoof Behemoth, right? Cradle Hoof.
Yeah,
it's like I'm gonna Cradle Hoof you for 20.
I take 0 damage.
I was like, I'm gonna survive
For 0
And guess what? It's coming back at you next turn.
Oh man. This new one is fantastic for all those Eldrazi fans out there. It's Echoes of Eternity. It's 3 colorless and then 3 pips of colorless, specifically the colorless mana.
Right.
For an enchantment that says, if a triggered ability of a colorless spell you control on another colorless permanent you control triggers, that ability triggers an additional time. When you cast a colorless spell, copy it.
Oh.
Yeah.
How insane is that?
The art's really cool, and it's an Eldrazi tribal card, which is interesting because they haven't printed tribal cards in a long time. As part of the what's it called?
Just the card types, right?
Card
the
types. That's
super
what I'm looking for.
yeah.
What is the Eldrazi card that gives you flying?
Gives you flying.
Gives you flying.
Yeah, +2/+2 flying.
I'm not sure. I know of Eldrazi Conscriptment, which gives a creature Annihilator.
That's 10+10 and 9.
No. I'm talking about the it's like an enchant.
Eldrazi Monument.
Yeah, that's right.
So you got to sacrifice a creature at the start of your
that's
turn,
right.
and then all your creatures get +1/+1 and
+2/+2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and flying.
That
card's busted.
Yeah, you're gonna put it in an Eldrazi deck.
I hope I hope to see a lot of Eldrazi players because that means I can start sideboarding tech against Eldrazi players. I can bring in all those spicy cards that say you can't play colorless
A
cards.
bunch of them also have Cycle, which I can then play in my
White Mirror.
Yeah,
Dino
Void Mirror,
cards.
invest.
True. Have you guys seen the art for this Wheel of Potential?
It's the Wheel of Fortune
so cool.
reprint, right?
Yeah, with less text, so I'm on board with that.
Yeah. Wait, Wheel of Fortune was too hard for you?
Do you know, it's funny, like it's probably like 3 years on from that card coming out, and every time I see me hit the deck, I'm like, oh, okay. I'll just wait for someone else to explain it, and I'll come back at the end.
It's just crazy that the somewhat like circumventing the reserve list, right? So they're trying to reprint cards, but not reprinting the card, just reprinting the card in another manner.
It's spicy because what they're doing with these powerful cards that they're reprinting in new mechanics also means they're bringing it into the competitive formats outside of Commander. So the chance of being able to play like a Wheel of Fortune, right, in Modern is like, what does that even do to the format? Like these new decks that come out, I can't even begin to imagine what it changes.
True.
It's gonna be like Storm. Storm's gonna be crazy.
You guys ever played against Storm in like say Legacy or any formats?
I've played against William's Tiny Little Storm Mill deck, which was a bloody.
Oh yeah.
Storm traditionally very OP.
In Modern, they used to have the Chariots deck.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Chariots deck?
Which one's that one?
So it just plays all the 0-cost artifact, and then it just plays everything, and then they play Mox. Is it Mox? Mox Opal? Is it?
I can't remember the payoff, but it was called Cheerios because all your 0 mana artifacts, the zeros, like a Cheerio.
Yeah.
And then you play Mox. What artifact is that? The 0-cost. They can
Mox Opal, Mox
Metalcraft. The one with Minecraft. Yeah.
Mox Opal, right?
Yeah, Mox Opal. Yeah.
How do you win the game?
So when you play Mox Opal and then you play the Hercules Recall.
You keep so the whole point of the Cheerios deck was play a lot of zero mana cards and then replay them, and then you go back to your hand and keep playing it. And then you storm a grape shot.
Yeah, because everything is 0 cost, right? So you don't
I
need to
do
play.
love that after all that grape shot is the kill
Well,
button.
there's a few finishes in that Cheerio deck. It's all based around the idea of either having a lot of artifacts or playing a lot of
So you
cards
play,
in turn.
what's it called? The Paladin. I can't remember the name. I'm so bad at it. The Metalcraft
We should
Paladin.
do our homework next time.
Yeah.
William is a One Piece player now. Look at him. He hasn't played Magic in a while.
I can remember. I remember the stats. I don't remember the name.
Well, William is an old school Magic player, though. When I first met William,
Are you calling William old? Seems been.
hey man, I'm not applying it, but he might be 97
We
years
have
old.
determined that on this podcast that William is somewhere between the ages of 24 and 44.
Yeah.
I'm old.
Add a 0 to both those.
So I can tell you, like, when I play Magic, it was Exodus.
Wow. Because I remember having chats with William about like old school Magic, which I haven't been around, but I've always been fascinated by it.
It was fun.
Yeah.
People used to play Stasis.
Stasis. People still do play Stasis, mate.
And it's funny because the
You
game
play
was,
4 copies of it.
the game was already slow at that point as well. So playing Stasis seems like a nightmare. To add on
And
top
you
of
play
that.
Illusions of Grandeur. So what you do is you play Illusions of Grandeur and then you gain 20 life and you donate it.
At that point, where were you going to play events?
What do you mean?
Like what shop? Where were you? Where at that time?
So
where were you
I was
playing?
still in Malaysia then. So Magic was pretty big then. And we had like, when we do like tournaments, like you had like maybe 60, 70 people turn up.
Did you have a game store that you would go to for that?
There's multiple game stores. So there's only one big game store which can like accommodate that kind of
those
crowd.
people.
Yeah, pretty much. It's called like a tournament center. And the name of the store is called Tournament Center.
Oh, is it still there?
Nah, it's not there anymore.
Ah, shame.
Yeah.
How old were you roughly when you were playing a lot of Magic?
15,
teens?
16?
Wow, you were playing Magic when I was like playing Yu-Gi-Oh as a child.
Yeah, 15, 16. And
Were you alive when William was playing Magic?
Dude, I wasn't alive in like the 1800s.
so play my first, I'm not sure it's a GP or what. I think it's like it's like a big tournament that
What was
that
it like being
DCI.
alive when Jesus was alive?
So it's pretty big. So the big deck then was illusions donate. So what happened is just it's either you do what's it called demonic consultation to get your illusions and then you donate it, and the next thing you die.
You're giving your opponent all the bad pieces.
Yeah, pretty much you donate. So donate was like a card from Urza Destiny. It was so bad. Because who wants to give a permanent that you control to another person,
Another
right?
player, yeah.
But what if you can donate something really bad?
Yeah.
Like the Illusions of Grandeur.
It's funny, like a time of Magic. Like we look at stat cards on Magic cards now, and you'll get something like Great Henge where it does everything under the sun. You're drawing cards and gaining life and adding counters and all this crazy stuff, right? But you look back, 10 years ago to Magic cards, and they're like, "You've got a 4/4. We're going to punish you for having it being a 4/4. Like it's going to come." Like, think about all the black demons from so many of those are like original sets. You've got a 5/5 flyer, but it's going to make you like sacrifice half your permanents at the start of your
was
turn.
it Zizim Jin? The Jin?
Oh
yeah, pretty much.
From
so
there.
I think the when Magic actually changed like direction in terms of like power level was Urza Saga.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I agree. I think Urza Saga
Because
really shaking.
before Urza Saga, you didn't have things like Chaos Cradle, Tolarian Academy.
Was there artifacts?
Sarah
Was there
Sanctum,
artifacts before Urza Saga, or was Urza Saga the first set to have artifacts?
Artifacts, yeah, because Grim Monolith was released then as well.
Interesting.
So that's when you had the deck where Kang is so interested in the Recurring Nightmare.
Yes.
So Recurring Nightmare won that year World Champs, and the second place was Kai Buddy or something. He played the Artifact deck, which is the Covetous Dragon Artifact deck. So what he does is you play the Voltaic Key, and then when you play Voltaic Key and Grim Monolith, you tap, tap. You just had so much
It
mana.
keeps going, yeah.
And then you just play like what's that called, the Helix that
Fireball.
Smokestack. You play Smokestack.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I think that's crazy. Is like you think about now, like a Gaia's Cradle is like a land that produces like an excessive amount of resources that you can use to play the game. So like even if you're not into Magic, you can understand like you've got this resource that creates exponential more resources based on like how well you're already doing. And that's very strong in the current Magic. So imagine what it'd be like back then when everything's quite slow and you're like, oh, now play a land that makes double the amount of
it's
stuff.
It's hard, right? Because your payoffs back then were also not as good as it is now.
Yeah, of
so
course,
you'll do like really powerful things, but your payoff could just be like a dragon.
It's true, actually.
So I played a deck where I used Gale's Cradle then. So Gale's Cradle was really affordable then. It's pretty much like $80.
And what they're still sitting at about 700 to 800 now.
I think like
I
one
think they're
1K,
close to a
yeah,
K
1K.
Yeah. So pretty much like maybe $70, $60, you can get a Gale's Cradle or whatever.
It's funny that like a $70, $80 card is considered cheap, but it's also like in
Not cheap,
in the
it's-
context of like it's $1,000 card
Yeah,
now, of course.
So then it was like expensive, but well, I played Golgari.
It was more expensive than the dual lands, right?
Oh yeah, dual land's like cheap, $10.
Yeah, you get so many stories of like people coming out of the US and their mum threw their Magic cards away in like a box or something, thinking it was just like a bunch of silly little kids' toys, and there could be just a box of thousands of dollars. Because the dual lands as well, they weren't coveted, so there was lots of them, and they were like there's all these things where people have drawn on them and written on them and used them as tokens, and like it wasn't as powerful as it was now. That coming,
I think they were considered an ugly card back then.
Yeah.
It was powerful until Fetch Lands came.
true, yeah.
Yeah, Fetch Land gave them like ultimate power.
Yeah, I guess without the fetch land, there is a limited amount of like you could like tutor them out with like green cards or black cards, which could specifically tutor that. But yeah, fetch land is such a cheap way of getting those things back onto the field, right?
Sorry, go ahead, bro.
So pretty much then what happened is I played a Golgari deck, right? So I played Fire Action Negator. If you know that card, it's Urza Destiny. First release in Urza Destiny is a 3-mana 5/5 Fire Action. So it's a 1 black 2 colorless. It's a trample 5/5. Whenever you get damage, for each damage you sacrifice a permanent.
Yeah.
So it's fine. You got like when you play green and black, you got Rancor. You have like other stuff like your mana dogs to sacrifice, and if it's all dead, you got Gale's Cradle to just tap for mana.
Yeah.
For the excess mana, right? So that deck is so crazy powerful. If you just play 2 Rancors and like just sacrifice a Rancor, it's fine.
So we're all roughly at different like generations of like Magic play. Did like your cards from when you were a kid survive to when you're an adult?
I still have my like a deck that I kept. I sold all my duels for like $10 each.
Yeah.
And I thought I did well.
Well, I guess it's all relative, right? Because at the time you did well, and
I
it's
was
only
like,
in hindsight when you go back. Right?
I made it, brother. I made it. $10.
It's funny
each.
because I'm definitely the youngest Magic player here, but I look back at old Magic archetypes and I get so nostalgic for it, even though it wasn't there. There's a longing of like I want to play what it was like back then, because you can do so many cool, interesting, weird things, and then your payoff could just be a Shivan Dragon, and like the 1 mana best creature in the game was just Savannah Lions.
Savannah Lions was very played.
So Psychotog was like crazy OP for so long,
And Force of Will
Sarah Angel
was the most played blue card.
It's like because for me, like I used to come down to the markets here where we are now when I was a kid and buy cards from the owner of Just Cards' dad, who's like the shop that's nearby that sells like Pokemon cards and stuff like that as well. Yeah, so the father retired and it's handed over to Justin, who's the owner of Just Cards now, right? And I used to come down as a kid, then go through their massive boxes of chaff cards, and you'd buy them up and take them home. And this is like, I would say at this time, you're looking at about like World Wake, like original Zendikar. It's that kind of time period. I think it's, Shadowmoor was just before that. So this is the time that I kind of got started the most. But then I got out of Magic because the boy, like where I was playing with my mates, I got out of Magic and I effectively just gave all my Magic cards away at that time. So,
You also got it in a really good set.
Right.
Like late
All the
Lorwyn,
retro
Zendikar.
So
foils.
it's like I think there were definitely new borders at that point, but it's it was I went on to play Duel Masters, and Duel Masters.
Come on.
Duel Masters
The
didn't
superior
survive
game,
the time. Survive the time, but then I got back into Magic a little bit later. I think we're looking about 2014 Theros block, that first Theros time. Got back in, I played a lot then. But again, at this point, we're looking at maybe 2012. I'm not 100% sure on the date. That's exactly right. But Magic still wasn't worth a lot of money then. You still at that point, you're not peaking numbers. And I used to run the community group. And what I would do with all the extra cards that I have was build commander decks and then give them to the guys coming to the community group. So I was good. I had a bunch of cards that people donated, and I'd use my own, and we draft quite regularly. So we'd collect those, and then a kid would come in and be like, oh, I want to learn how to play like a Magic or a game. So for like $15 or something, you'd give them a commander deck, and it's just like a basically precons, because even at the time, 2014, 2015, precons weren't very good. Like you'd buy precon Magic cards and there were decks and from Magic, and they weren't very good. Like I remember the first ones with the monocolored planeswalkers in them.
Yep.
And like we were opening them and going through them, and we tried to play them even just in a bubble with each other, and they were still shit.
Remember
they were still so bad.
Remember the dual decks when they'll do like 2 decks
Oh,
and
the
Precon versus each other? They were themed and they were awesome. Man, I'm just talking about this gets me thinking about like Magic back in the day. To play, I was like, I get so nostalgic for it.
Well, that's it. It's like now I think about now, like some of those, I'd give a kid for $15 like a commander deck, and I look back at it now and like there's probably like 500, 600
you guys still remember that feeling of like when like you were new to Magic and like you would crack a card and you'd look at these cards and you'd be like, whoa, what are these weird creatures? And what like this magical fantasy land that they have.
The one card that like really catch my eye, because when I was like in like year 5, I was given like a bunch of cards, and I was like just buying cards that's just big in like power and toughness.
Yeah.
So there's this thing like a rhinoceros, like I think in Ice Age Alliances, like what trashing rhinoceros or something. It's like a 8/4 trample, like 8 to cast.
Is it more like an onslaught block kind of thing?
No. It's like way back. It's like pre-Exodus.
Interesting.
Like just way before Exodus.
Yeah.
These are like all cards.
For the listeners, what year do you think this was? 95, 96? No, Exodus was probably like 98 then, right?
Yeah, 98.
Yeah.
There's a few guys here in the store that started with like Alpha. Like I know Graham played Alpha.
Yeah, dude.
Graham, one of our regulars, was in the
Dude, I want to know what it's like during Alpha Beta.
Yeah, and like he talked about how like he was in the Navy and they'd be on the ship and like people would go into the port town wherever they were, and they'd buy a bunch of it and just be like there'd be communal Magic cards on the table to play it. And,
can you imagine like Black Lotus on the floor?
He said, I remember him telling a story once, and it's not my story to tell, so I'm going to get a little bit wrong, but I think he said that they found like a box of cards just like in a hallway somewhere, and they were just like on the ship, and they were like, "Oh, we'll just play these cards." I guess.
Someone comes out, "Hey, where did my cards go?"
Yeah. Oh no, sorry, I got that wrong. It was a white dwarf. He found a white dwarf in a hallway.
Nice.
And that's like the first white dwarf that he read from like Magic from Warhammer.
Do you guys have a favorite set or favorite era in Magic? Like if you had
Macadian Mask.
Oh, that's a good one to name, William. I wasn't around for Macadian Mask, but that set looked
because
cool.
Squee Goblin Naboob was the chase card.
For me, Macadian Mask is really cool because it's an old set. Was it 97, 96? I put that around that era.
Probably the best quality foils they've ever printed.
Yeah, it was one of the first time they've one of the earlier times they've done foils.
So Macadian Mask reminds me of two things, like Squee and Richard and Port.
Yeah.
That piece of crap card.
Those are both
Cosmic Games.
Those are both iconic to me because my favorite era of storytelling was around then, and Macadian Mask
absolutely
was really just like a real at like that pinnacle of storytelling in Magic, in my opinion. That Weatherlight era with the heroes. Squee is an iconic hero from that era.
So
it sounds like a deck that you've made in the past year or so.
You bet.
The set that changes like the whole meta game was the Urza block. Let me just go through with you the Urza block. So for Urza Saga, right? Urza Saga, we have Morphling.
I believe Urza Saga was 97.
Yeah, one of the most powerful blue card ever. Because when you play Morphling, you're just unbeatable because it can gain flying, hexproof. It can pump itself. It can pump its back. It does a lot of things.
Everything.
Yeah. And then when Destiny...
How do you beat that, Will?
Oh, you play Mirror. You force a will
Everybody's
that shit.
playing Morphlings,
You force a will that crap. So what happens the second set when Destiny came out was you get Musticore, right? That's the most insane second card that's came out. So what they do is they play Morphling and they play Musticore. So Musticore is like a 4 colors for 4/4, and then for 2 colors you can ping 1 damage any target, and then 2 colors you can regenerate. But you have to discard a card every turn though.
Yeah.
Well, that Urza's block was famously known for being like one of the most overpowered sets in Magic's history, right? Like to this day, there are so many of those Urza's cards that are still played.
Crazy.
Metalworker. Metalworker is probably my
Metalworker as well.
Still my favorite art is like Metalworker is like 3-cost artifact. It's a creature, and you tap it, and you reveal cards, artifacts in your hand, and for every artifact you get 2 mana, and that's busted. Even the more the more advanced the game's got and the quicker the game's got, the better that card's got, because it's just like you just have more cards, you can stack your hands, you can unlimited hand, you can have infinite mana. It's such a boomer for you can get it on turn 2.
And we have the mid set, which is Urza Legacy, right? You have the set where you release Rancor, Grim Monolith.
Yep.
What's that? The Hermit,
Hermit
Deranged
Druid.
Hermit,
Oh yeah, like all the combos start to come in.
Opposition.
Ooh.
It's crazy.
Yeah. It's what a crazy wild set. Because if we made like a list,
That's
of
like the Modern Horizons 1, 2, and 3.
if we made a list of like still to this day, current day, like most broken cards, there'll still be a lot out of that Urza Saga.
Yeah, definitely.
What was hectic as well was that you just had that Urza's block, which is also just a massive part of that storyline as well. And we
It's like
had
the pinnacle of storytelling for sure.
exactly right. You had the most OP stuff come out, and then immediately afterwards, you had a weird set, Mercadian Masks, which was just like everyone was like, "This set sucks. These cards are terrible." But then over time, a lot of these cards just became so iconic.
Mercadian Mask came, I think, was one of the first set, if I'm not wrong, that came out with free spells as well. Dryad, what is it called? The Dryad. That you can remove a green card from your hand and you play the Dryad for free. So
the elf.
Yeah. Dryad Elf, something like that. I can't
Simian
remember.
Spirit Guide.
Yeah.
And it's
yes.
Spirit Guide.
So pretty much is when you play Green Stompy, right? So it's a 1/3, if I'm not mistaken, for that 4-cost green card. So if you go second, you just play that card, and then you play Rancor on it.
Okay.
So it's because it's 3/3, and you
you're
start
putting
striking.
out 4 power in it's like turn 2 or whatever. Yeah.
Pretty much very good. Like if you have 2 of it in your hand, you just put both of it down. It's just
So Mercadian Masks was your favorite set, or is like for you iconic?
the most one of my favorite set because you have the port, you have the squee, you have pretty much a lot of things. And then I stopped Magic during what's it set that the face? I think it's on. Is it Apocalypse?
With
That's
the,
Apocalypse with the
I
mask,
think,
the death mask.
Yeah, Apocalypse. That's where I stopped after Invasion. And
you
stuff.
finished right at the end of the Weatherlight Saga.
Yeah. So pretty much I did the Invasion. That was nice because you have all the avatars as well. So we play that. We have Undermine, if you have remembered that from Plane. Is it Plane Shift?
Oh, with the swirl.
Yeah.
So I used to be so good at naming sets like exactly, and now I've just like lost that talent.
Because I drive the truck, right? So in my head, I run through all the sets. While I'm driving, I was bored. You know, this is like quite a few years ago as well, like pre-podcast and like Spotify being as good as it is. I would run through a list and remember things in my head. Like it used to be like World of Warcraft macros, Magic the Gathering sets, like chapters from Lord of the Rings, this kind of stuff. Like this
pretty cool.
Just the nerdiest guy driving around, like driving a fucking truck ever. But I'd be able to do every set. But I think there's been more sets in the past 5 years than there was all the sets previously.
Oh, definitely.
It's so many sets
Because
man.
there's no filler set then. There's only like 4 sets a year, and that's it.
Yeah.
And there's no filler set. And pre-release was held in a big hall. So there's only one pre-release. There's no like multiple stores pre-release. There's going to be one, and it's organized by like the distributor or something. So you go to like we do it in Malaysia. We do it in a hotel. So we ran like a meeting room or something, like a
that's
huge
interesting.
So like few hundred people just go in there and
And it
do
was
pre-release.
organized by like the biggest like game store in
Oh, no,
the
it's
area.
by the distributor.
By the distributor.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So pretty much is everyone goes there and then you play pre-release like a GP. So
That's
like
cool.
you put in your
That is cool,
DCI
yeah.
number. You it's like ranking.
Oh, you guys remember DCI numbers, dude? I still have it in my wallet somewhere.
I probably had 7 DCIs, and I'm like a guy who does this regularly.
Back in the day, if you played Magic the Gathering seriously, you would get yourself like a special identifier number.
Yeah.
You'd be like, you are player number this. And also back in the day, if you played regularly, you would get promos. I wasn't around for this. This was past my time.
called
This
Arena.
before my time. But back in the day, you would play regularly and you would get mailed promos, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If the store is participating, you can do arena as well. So if you remember the Urza Saga lands, right? So Urza Saga had these really nice like lands, and then arena gave them in foil.
Yes.
So every game you play contributes to you getting one. So every 10 games you get a foil land.
Sick.
So me and my friends were like just jamming out games like 10 games, one foil land, 10 games, one foil land.
Yeah.
So we had a bunch of these foil lands, and these foil lands are so expensive now. I
Yeah.
throw them all away.
Oh, don't look back.
Wait. Okay, another story is during Prophecy, right? Prophecy was the set that was released, and there's one card in there that I threw away so many of it. It's called Ristic Study.
Yep, I knew
Because
exactly
it's
what
common,
you were
right?
going to
Ristic
say.
Study
It is
is
a common,
original
yeah.
common print.
And it
So-
was terrible back then.
Yeah, who on earth will play that stupid card, right?
Especially in a one-on-one format. So Ristic Study is a 3-cost enchantment. It goes on the table, and then whenever someone else draws a card, they pay 1, or you also draw a card, right? So,
What's a spell, is it? Or
So
draw
whenever
card?
they cast a spell.
Cost a
so
spell.
whenever they cast a spell, sorry, that's right. So, but in a one-on-one format, it's how many times is that really going to crop up? Is it worth having in there?
You
But in
just pay the
Commander,
1 in 1v1.
yeah, exactly.
okay,
Just
sure.
1v1. But in Commander, what a gun! Like what an absolute piece of tech.
It's a mythic right now. Yeah. It's no longer a common.
Yeah,
But the number of times I threw away that card makes me feel very sad.
It went from like $0 to being, I think, average is $30 now.
30, 40 bucks. Yeah,
40 bucks a
easy.
card.
for years, and I think that's one of those most consistent sitters. For years, it sat around $40 to $46 for Australian, like at
And it
all
was
times.
hard to
for a
find.
decade. Yeah,
Finding a Ristic Study was also the challenge.
And the foil is 500 bucks. I threw them away.
wait, what foils were you getting of them on? Because they would. I don't think there's a foil Ristic Study back then, was there?
There is.
Because I know there's a judge for
No,
promo Ristic Study as well.
because in one box you get like one foil. So sometimes you get Ristic Study is like the most shittiest foil ever you can get, right? It's like, no, I
Oh,
want
true.
Yeah.
So they're really.
Yeah.
They've really come a long way with like
500 bucks.
Like we've got Modern Horizons 3 and
the bin.
they've released commander decks that are full foil commander decks. And for there you've got every box you get one foil.
Yeah, so getting a foil then was more meaningful. So
Yeah,
if you hit a
absolutely.
foil, like it's like a jackpot.
Yeah, foil Gaia's Cradles are like $3,000 to $4,000.
That's Judge though.
No, Gaia's Cradle was.
Yeah,
Yours
Judge.
had foils.
No,
Right?
no. The first foil was Urza Destiny, I think.
Oh, it was the third
Yeah.
one of the set.
Urza Legacy, sorry. Urza Legacy was the
second,
first. So that's why you have Green Monolith foil.
Yeah.
Which is like 4K or US or something. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. It'd be interesting to see now, like where some of those cards are sitting, because we come across One Piece and Flesh and Blood, and there's other games where the prices have their own meaning. I wonder where some of that early stuff still sits. Like when's the last time you looked at the price of Black Lotus?
I think the price
Well,
of Black Lotus
Black
now
Lotus-
is whatever
wait.
someone wants to buy.
So there's an Alpha Black Lotus Beckett Black Label that was just sold recently to one of the collectors that collects One Piece as well. So he paid 3 million.
I heard that story.
3
Yeah.
million.
But it
3
was
million.
only advertised by the auction company. And
Correct.
I didn't hear any other news, right?
So
Interesting.
So
the guy
people-
is famous for buying like Black Label
Is it
stuff.
confirmed he
Yeah,
bought
yeah,
for
he
3 mil?
confirmed, yeah.
How much did Post Malone buy the One Ring for? So
1.6, I think, and he paid all the taxes, so 2 million. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It was like because you're sitting there. And how much did you say the Black Lotus went for?
3.
3.
It's not
Okay.
expensive for a
God.
Black Label, the top of the top.
Did you say he paid tax for the for the One Ring as
Yeah.
well?
For the
He
other
did.
guy.
Yeah.
Because the other guy had to pay income tax.
Right, that's right.
So he paid like he gets net 1 point something million. Yeah.
That's why I thought it was so funny. Like in the US, and I'm maybe assuming Canada, maybe not, but like you pay tax, you win the lottery and you pay tax on that. Imagine like it's like
Oh,
by
no.
the time you paid income tax and then your state tax on winning the lottery, you get like a quarter of what you actually earn.
Yeah, because we don't pay tax for lotto here on Australia.
no.
Yeah, it's winning.
It's 100%.
It's funny, like Australia has this. We're in a weird position where we think we're this like crazy, like free country, but really we're like one of the most nanny states ever. We're like super. Most of the companies that own anything at these giant conglomerates, and we really promote gambling. We're like real big on the gambling. There's gambling advertisements
much.
all over the news, everywhere. You
Yeah,
just-
but why do our casinos suck so bad then?
Well, yeah.
Because our government also regulates
because you
casinos
can just
so hard.
because you can just jam the casinos wherever you go. Like you've got TABs. You could just walk down the street and there's a
true.
TAB there.
Sports betting. is
Yeah,
a big one,
sports.
sorry.
But we're one of the only
I'm
countries.
a
in the-
casino gambler, so I'm upset that Crown sucks.
Yeah, it's true. Well, but people consider Crown to be some of the best casinos in the world.
Yeah,
But-
the
but-
Perth one sucks.
Like, well, that's a Perth problem more than anything
Yeah.
else. But like Melbourne Crown is considered one of the best casinos in the world, and people travel from America to there all the time, especially the Chinese businessmen, because Perth was one of the last places in the world where you could smoke inside the casino as well. So right through the 90s, it was one of the most popular casinos for people to come from Southeast Asia, because you could you're in like a first world country and you could smoke inside
was
the
it
casino.
privately owned? It was Burswood back then. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah. So I think it was in the Pearl Room, or I think
They still have the Pearl Room.
they still have the Pearl Room, but I think it's smoke free now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you got to be all family friendly now for the casinos, right? It's like
Family friendly.
Well,
What?
no, you get the stories of like Vegas in the 80s, and now you have Vegas now, where it's just kind of people coming in for resorts, and it's all families.
Yeah.
Like in
Right.
the early days of Vegas, it was the Wild Wild West that come down and do crazy.
And now you've got like Gangnam Style having a tenured position there, doing concerts every single night.
Well, now
it's a different world, right?
This is what happens when like you get stories of like Vegas was mob owned, and now it's government owned.
Yeah,
right?
true.
So
At least this time you didn't call it New Vegas.
yeah, I have
The
a
last time we
bad
spoke about
tendency
it,
for that,
he
dude.
called Las Vegas New Vegas from Fallout.
Dude, that's that podcast brain rot where we're talking about Fallout so much. So,
Oh my goodness.
so how's this? So this is the story of how me as a young child getting exposed to Magic the Gathering at all for the first time. You guys remember K-Zone magazines?
Oh yes, I love K-Zone.
So it goes back to PC Power Plays and K-Zones. All
Yeah.
again, young me was just
K-Zone was like this. Do you reckon it was owned by PC Power Play, and that was the stepping point into PC Power Play?
K-Zone's still around, I think.
Really?
Yeah, it
it's
is,
it's
yeah.
like it's a magazine for children. It's a monthly mag for kids, right? And it's all that silly stuff. But when I was a very young child, I used to get K-Zone mag because you get toys out of it as well.
I got Knucklebones in my K-Zone.
Nice, the best one,
Knucklebones.
the best one they
Knucklebones.
gave me one time was
Oh,
in
they were
that,
called Crazy Bones. Sorry,
Oh,
William.
okay.
But they were Knucklebones.
in that K-Zone mag I bought one day as a child was a couple Magic the Gathering cards, like a sample card.
That's so good.
But it also came with a CD for Magic the Gathering Online. Yeah, it came with an install disc for Magic the Gathering Online. So I still have I think this is like
Bro, we should play it.
I still have it.
We should play it.
It's one of my possessions that I own.
How do you have a CD like in your computer?
Yeah.
We'll find one.
Jeez.
I actually do, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I've for the last 3 generations computer, I've moved my Blu-ray player from one to the
Oh, my
next.
goodness.
I don't I want to watch my Lord of the Rings, man.
Nice.
my
respect.
I was like-
extended edition Lord of the Rings.
I was trying to use a CD the other day. I was like, where did I put this?
William looks at old relics.
Yeah.
I was like,
my
artifacts.
it's funny you talk about this. Like one of the boys had a CD player in his truck the other day, and I was like, "Have you?" Because when I first started truck driving, there was no Spotify and the radio was shit, right? So we would burn CDs. Like we'd get LimeWire some music onto your thing, and then we'd burn them on CDs, and we'd have like one of those big like track books where you have like hundreds of CDs in there, right? So we did all the time. Anyway, we were in his truck and we we're having a bit of a laugh. And he's like, "Oh, I've got this like thing." I was like, "We've managed to find a CD like floating around." I think it was all scratched up to shit because it was just like in the back, just floating around. Anyway, he hasn't used his disc track in ages. We put it in there and he presses the button and the thing goes to like come out, like the tray.
Yeah.
You'd press it for all the kids out there. You'd press a button and a physical tray would pop out to put the CD in. And it hadn't moved in so long, it kind of struggled to come out and then it just shot out.
Oh,
So
no.
it was I think the elastic band was just holding together that like would retract it in and out, was holding together just while it existed. But the minute it tried to operate, it snapped. So it comes shooting, the whole tray shot out of the thing.
Jeez.
So a young me with that Magic the Gathering CD, not really knowing what Magic the Gathering was, I had to beg my mom.
Bro, that's so cool. It's like an artifact.
Yeah, I had to be like, this was like, if I was to guess an era, this is probably like 2008, 2009, right? Like early, like this was like Magic the Gathering Online first came out. I had to beg mom, like, "Mom, please let me try this game on the home laptop."
Your mum was like, that kind of generation. She's like, it's going to be full of bugs. It's going to kill my computer.
And I was like, finally, I like
The Windows
nagged her
95 was
enough.
like, "Ooh."
She let me install. We had Windows XP back then. So,
Oh, true,
man, look
true,
at
true,
that.
true,
We
yeah.
were in the cool age before after Windows 2000.
XP was that was premium, right? That was
XP lasted a long
pinnacle
time.
of macro.
What's after
Microsoft.
XP?
Vista.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry
That's what I
about
mean. You
Vista,
go from
bro.
XP to Vista. Vista's like,
Yeah. So
even the back screen got shitter.
that was back when every design had to be some sort of like see-through, shiny, circular design.
Remember the screensavers with the pipes and shit?
Yeah, I remember the bubble screensaver.
Yeah, that too.
So yeah, I installed Magic the Gathering online on my laptop, and we didn't have internet, so all I would do was play like the demo and verse bots. So iconic, man. I remember they had like a tutorial, man. That would be like in a themed voice narrating out like, "You just played Mountain Giant."
Yeah, it's peak nerd stuff as well. It's like, "You are ready to go, little boy."
Yeah, dude. I remember, man. I still remember all the iconic cards out of that disc as well, and I still remember some of the sample cards I got out as well. So
What do you got?
It was like, remember that? What's that graveyard? What's that Grave Digger? There was like Grave Digger was one of the cards.
Oh, the ones where he's sitting there eating an
Yeah.
arm. I know. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Black Creature. There was red was I think it was like Volcanic Axe or something like that.
Oh, that's
yeah.
nice.
Yeah, and then the green was like Stomping Worm. It was like some sort of 6'4" generic green creature.
Talking about
Do you remember what set would have been out at that time? Do you remember the symbol on it?
If I was to take a wild guess, maybe like 10th ed.
True. You be around like Avison Restored in that kind of time.
talking about Volcanic Axe.
Maybe. What was 2008, 9?
I don't know. Kamigawa?
Oh no, that's Mirrodin, isn't it? No, Mirrodin was 2004. Sorry.
Yeah.
Is it
No,
Kamigawa?
you're
hard
way
to pin
past that. I think you're looking around when
It
Liliana
was
the
a,
Veil
it was
came
a
out and
core
stuff.
set. So it was a core set. It was a core set little sample booster. I know this because one day I was at Just Cards next door and I bought a sample booster that had the cards that I had on a K-Zone.
Interesting.
Yeah. It was a thing that they mass produced and gave out a lot of. That's why it was like in a K-Zone mag. Because
Yeah,
K-Zones
yeah.
cost like $6 a month. It was some ridiculously like cheap price. It's for children. But I still have the CD, and that CD has an iconic
It's a Lorwyn.
Lorwyn.
So
If you Google- hey,
10,
Will.
2010 is 10th edition.
Gotcha. Google Magic the Gathering online like demo disc, or Magic the Gathering online like install disc. Because the cover for the disc is a Sarah Angel. It was like that iconic Sarah Angel art. No, you have to scroll down, Will.
Oh, this one?
Yeah, so if it's Sarah
Yeah,
Angel,
that one right there. That one right there, William.
Right. Play with the
middle.
best.
In the middle there. Yeah.
This play with
Like
the
that.
best.
Had that art on it.
oh, cool. So that's I don't know. Australia. We're all googling things now.
Yeah.
We're like really peak.
This audio podcast.
Wait. Hold on. So talking about Volcanic Axe, right? So what reminds me of
No, it wasn't Volcanic Axe. Sorry, it wasn't the one. It wasn't a guy throwing an axe. It was like a hammer that was like all chained together over a volcano.
Hammer Begotten.
No, not a good card. It wasn't a good card.
it wasn't a good card.
Yeah.
So Hammer Begotten was a very used card during one I played. So powerful though.
Yeah.
The buyback, Danny. That's recurring, bro. That's like flashback. But
Yeah, think of there's so much room for activities.
yeah, look at that buyback, bro.
And it was definitely my first exposure to Magic the Gathering and like any of the introduction I have to how to play the game. I remember.
Have you
playing
played
some
pro
weird-
like in like any serious tournaments before?
No, I've never been a serious
Wait,
gamer.
let me check when is GP.
I've always been like I would describe myself as like casual plus. Like I'm a pretty casual player, but I'll play serious every now and again.
I can't believe I'm trying to find this thing on K-Zone and they still make K-Zones right now.
Yeah.
They could trying to make me subscribe. I'm like, man.
K-Zone had a lot of interesting stuff. There was a lot of like early Xbox games. You used to like go to K-Zone and be like, oh dude, check out the review for the new Matrix video game.
So I started my nerd collecting thing with a thing called Tarzos. Now I think in America they're called Pogs. I think it's the same thing. Nice. But in Australia they're called Tarzos and they come in like Smith's packets of chips. And I swapped.
I remember being in like year 1.
Well, I swapped all of my Tarzos for a Squirtle.
I think that was worth it.
Yeah, it was worth it. Yeah, well, actually, and then we moved from Pokemon, and that's when I think like you did the Pokemon thing, and in Australia, you have like nearby to Australia is a place called Bali. It's like a holiday destination we go to, and you could go to Bali and you could buy.
It's our Tahiti.
Yeah. Well, I feel like it's more like our Mexico.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's I think for the Brits it'd be like this probably Poland or something I'd say so. Like,
Do Brits go to Poland for holidays?
yeah, heaps. We
I thought they go to like.
Do you know Poland is the second most traveled for holidays place in the entire world?
Really?
Yeah, after
Really?
France. Yeah, it's
People are going to France voluntarily.
maybe not as much at the moment. We're way off the market now, but whatever. This is the broadcast. You know what you're in for. Have you seen the thing at the moment? So there's a massive backlash on France holding the Olympics, right? Because it costs, in most countries make a negative loss when they hold the Olympics. Like I think China went down like $30 billion, right? So there's a big backlash in France at the moment because they need healthcare and all this other crazy stuff. So the prime minister and the acting like vice prime minister of the country, I'm not 100% how this works, but whatever. It's a man and a lady. They are going to swim down the Thames. That's the Thames is England. Swim down the Seine. What the fuck is the big,
channel?
No, the one in the river that goes through Paris.
Dude.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. They're going to swim down this massive like river that goes through the middle of Paris, right? Because they're spending all this money, like $1 billion on cleaning up just the river so it looks good for the Olympics. Mm-hmm. Now, the people have started to organize a protest where they've lined the side of the river up with toilets. And on the day that the people are going to swim, they're all going to poop into the river. And there's an entire there's an entire website set up so that if you're not in the main part of France, like in Paris, you can go on the website, you type in your address and what the closest access to a river is you are, and because a bunch of the rivers flow from there into Paris, where this main thing is, it'll time based on water flow when you need to do your poop into the water. So to be in the like where they are swimming at the time they are.
That's so
it's
gnarly,
like
dude.
So much like effort has gone into like organizing
They're
this
gonna
thing.
absolutely annihilate those people with sewage.
It's like it's counting for like water flow, density, like the weather and all this kind of stuff. And there's like a whole website you can go be like,
Yeah, you watch them swim and suddenly you just watch them just panic in the water.
Jeez.
like you were like, all right, well, I need to go to poop in the river at 3:44 today, so that it'll arrive at 6:30 tomorrow when it's gonna when they're swimming.
This is like when they had the Olympics in Brazil, and that was a massive controversy, right? Because Brazil was struggling already.
Yeah, it's like is Brazil a third world country? Hopefully, I'm not.
I want to put it in that weird second world country where they're developing, right? They're like a developing country.
Is that what developing means? Just it's like second world. Is that what that is?
It's just getting there.
No, it's getting there.
It's getting there. Because around that time when the Brazilian Olympics was on, I was working with a Brazilian fella, and I asked him like, because he was a student, and like I was asking about like, oh, how do you like your country? And he's like, I hate it.
What?
I was like drinking at the wrong time.
I was like,
I spat that out.
It was like, yeah, like the reason I'm an international student is because I'm trying to get out of my country. Because Brazil he was telling me all the stories of the corruption, the work opportunities in Brazil, and especially that like whole Olympic situation where he was like, man, just like right in that area, there are people who are, like hungry and homeless,
starving to death and
they're
stuff like
trying
that.
to build giant stadiums and stuff.
Well, the fact that you spend billions of dollars on a thing that effectively is not going to make money does seem like pretty crazy, right?
Yeah.
But also, what's the accolade of having it then? Like, if your country's going to go in, like, when China held it and they lost $30 billion, why did they want it for? Is it just so the politicians can be like, yeah, that's cool?
Do you reckon it is a loss for the government, or do you reckon local economy, like hotels,
Yeah, but not that much.
Yeah, but it's
though.
taxpayers' money. If a government loses money, it doesn't
You're
matter
right.
how much money. Like, you could have spent $30 million on like improving the roads, which would mean more customers will come to your building.
I wonder if for bigger developing countries, that $30 billion is like no big deal.
It's the
kind of
same
short.
reason why you foil that.
Or do you think it's them also?
The Olympics is the premium card.
But
like
are
the
they pushing?
booster.
Are they also then re-pushing jobs back into the market because people had to build those stadiums too, right?
Are you though? I think Australia did really well with Brisbane because they turned their entire living area for the Olympians. I think it was like 2008ish when they had.
Oh,
it,
really?
right? Yeah, they turned the whole thing into apartment buildings.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they designed it in purpose so like it became a whole bunch of the things that they used it for became like sporting arenas and all this kind of stuff.
So same thing with Malaysia. We did a Commonwealth Games. So in 2008, so we held Commonwealth Games in Malaysia, I think. So what happened is the village, the athlete village, right, was converted into like all the apartments, which has become housing.
Well, I guess maybe there's a
And then,
story there where it can be done right if the government does the good job right.
So that the the complex, the sports complex, became a shopping mall, and then the one of the buildings that they used to house another athlete, right, to become like a uni.
Oh yeah, cool.
So they made
I wonder
it
if
into,
any of those places became a Magic the Gathering store or a hobby store, and it's gone full circle from Olympians to like nerds playing games. Because we said one became a shopping center, right? There's full potential there.
I always conceded that I'm not good enough in like economics to really understand the nuances of when governments pull off stuff like this, because there's probably like a whole bunch of factors, right? Because the fact that like we're still talking about like the Chinese Olympics or whatever, and back then it was a huge part of national pride as well.
True.
So maybe there's like some factors that we're not factoring in as well.
I think a part of economics, just absolutely at a base level, is optics though. So it's like even if there's money to be made, a government has to think about how it looks, and if the general populace is not on board with it, that's as much a part of economics as actual finance of economics.
It's like advertising, right? When like Coca-Cola spends billions and billions of dollars on advertising, it's like
but that's not the public's money. Like it's different.
Yeah, that's
Private
private
sector.
though.
Yeah, but I think the theory is the same, where it's like it's money that they technically can't really, they don't measure exactly how much money they're getting back off of it.
Like I said, bro, it's like foiling your deck.
Yeah.
Before we go too far, are we up for time? Are we? Or are we
No, I reckon we can keep going.
Yeah.
So-
Where you
Yeah.
got to be? It's 11:30 at night.
So
William.
The kids are in bed, Will.
Yeah. So the thing is with like all of these is just, I think it's a little bit flex, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be, right? As your country, as like, especially if you're like a first world country, you kind of got to be like, hey, check out what we can do.
Yeah.
Especially for your own people, right? Like, imagine for your own people, it matters.
Me and Kang, like earlier today, we just wanted to talk a lot about like both Magic the Gathering and Lorcana, and I just want to like extend this podcast a little bit, like talking about Lorcana, like how they're doing it. Really, it's really quite surprising, and to be honest, it's pretty good. Like launching.
Are you
all
talking
the sets.
specifically about how they're launching the sets?
Yeah, like how they're launching the set to catch up with worldwide release.
It
right?
does mean Australia doesn't feel like they're left behind.
Correct, but you don't get to play the sets properly though. That's the only thing. That's the only bad side of it. But releasing it staggering 2 weeks apart to chase up to the current release is pretty good.
So this is my perspective on this whole situation, right? So what Lorcana is the new Disney game, TCG, right? So it's become very popular. Obviously, it's got the backing of Disney, and it's always going to have the funding behind it that it needs to survive, I think. So they've taken their time. Like, they could have launched a Disney TCG 10 years ago and just phoned it in, but I think they've really put the effort in to make that difference. Now, what we've seen around other games like Flesh and Blood, Magic the Gathering maybe like 3 years ago, One Piece still right now, is they release nationally all over the world, and they constantly run into problems where there's production problems with making product, right? So then it'll come in waves, and just like the same thing we have with sorcery, where they release everywhere. The demand is really high, the production is nowhere near enough to catch up, and then people go hot and cold on the thing that's come out. Now, I think the Lorcana whole situation was they released just in the US, and then they rolled out into the rest of the place. But that means that their market in the US can keep hot with just that production, and it can keep things, because realistically, America is still one of the biggest, if not the biggest, consumers of products. So if it can survive in America, like, whether it survives in Australia, it just helps their bottom line, but it isn't a be or end all for like a place like for a game like Lorcana, right? So the fact that they've managed to keep the guys in America happy for a long period of time, and now they've got their production levels sorted out, then they can launch somewhere else. I think that's such a big difference.
I think it provides a lot of security for the Australian players that they've seen that the game has survived.
Yeah. Like if we could, if they'd done the same thing with sorcery, and they just released in the US and then worried about the rest of the world later, I think it'd be in a way better position, because at least the game is going to survive the next 4 to 5 years. And it's like, whereas here now, we're already in that stage of like, is sorcery going to survive? Because so many people that started a year ago when it came out, they're all like, a whole bunch of these people have moved to Magic or Lorcana or other games, and it's like how do you capture those people back in? And you might never do that because they just couldn't buy product. And while I've always recommended people, like, you don't have to buy everything that's new that come out. The consumer want is to buy and spend money and collect. So if you inhibit that too much and make it too hard for people, they will lose interest pretty quickly.
Yeah, a big part of card games is collecting the card game. Have you guys had a chance to play Lorcana?
I did. I played it last year. No, sorry, not last year. Hey, wait. It was last year, right? Yeah, last year. Yeah,
I think we're exactly coming.
I played it
1
last
year
year
of Lorcana
because a friend of mine went to UK and then bought a couple of starter decks and then brought it back, so we get to practice it.
Yeah, I've been playing I've been playing a little bit of Lorcana as well, and I have a few opinions as well of it. Lorcana was one of those card games where, like, I was always going to give it a try. I'm more than happy to give anything a try, but I wasn't expecting myself to get sucked into it as much as I am right now.
So you're enjoying it then?
I'm enjoying it. It's hard not to, right? Because it's like...
It's magic. Mickey Mouse magic.
It's Disney, right? If you've grown up with any sort
Wait, are you saying it's Magic the Gathering? Are you saying it's magic to play?
No,
it's magical, and we're gathering to play it.
All right, so it's like Magic the Gathering, but with Disney characters.
Yeah, so the rules of the game is it plays like Magic. But so what I was going to get to was everyone here has been exposed to Disney one way or another. If you were a child and you grew up with any sort of entertainment, you grew up with Disney.
Absolutely.
So I cracked a couple of packs of Lorcana, and I wasn't expecting myself to open it and be like, oh, wait, The Lion King, Simba, Scar. I was like, oh, these are cool characters. I remember as a kid, like Lilo and Stitch characters, Aladdin, and like Mulan. And something about that part of my brain was like, I cracked a couple packs and I was like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
I get it now. Like playing with these iconic characters and realizing them on the table. I wasn't a big Frozen. I think I was a little too old for Frozen.
Far past that, yeah. Because Frozen was like when my son was about that age.
Well, you just play Elsa just for like the the theme of it, like the stasis.
Yeah.
So the same thing. Like I know you got pretty excited on the release day for Lorcana, which was also just last weekend, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow, dude.
So it's like because we in a hot,
last Friday.
yeah, in a hot flash we've had Flesh and Blood have Heart of the Mistfire, which we didn't. That's sold out already, like across the country.
Yeah.
Then we had Lorcana come out. That first roundabout has sold out already. Then we've got Modern Horizons this weekend, so it's pretty stacked for us across the board, right? But I know you were pretty excited. You cracked a starter deck, learned how to play, and then everybody left with a starter deck, so you didn't get a game.
Yeah. I had my starter deck and I sleeved up my deck and I was like, let's see who wants to play with me. And everybody that came through and bought a starter deck just left. It's like bought some products and left. And I was like, okay, it's fine. I get it. No one wants to play with
there
me.
with his Mickey Mouse deck, like play my game.
So it's pretty nice. I like the game. It has some like meta game to it. There is still a lot of like combos to it as well.
Are you seeing value in like the singles for Eternal Magic?
Of course, your Enchanted is the most valuable.
Are you worrying about the rest of it, or is it feeling pretty
It's
chappy?
okay because what we're gonna do, what's happening right now is we don't see any value in set 1, 2, and 3 because we're not gonna play it, right? So a lot of cards would just get
It's more like a collecty thing at the moment.
pretty much. So you're gonna get like fall off pretty quickly. So what you're gonna see is there's gonna be like certain cards from 1, 2, and 3 that you're gonna be used in set 4 onwards. So those are the cards that are gonna be retaining value.
More like key pieces, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. They're like uncommon and stuff, so it's not like expensive.
Yeah.
So I feel like the game is really good in a way, and it captures the wider audience as well because like kids and stuff will play.
Yeah.
There's no like killing or sacrifice or like thunderbolt, like lightning bolt or whatever.
We touched on it a little bit at the end of the podcast last week, but even since then, in the week preceding, the amount of times I've heard from just regular Vizars they've been trying to get their partner to play certain games like Magic, and it could be a stretch to get your female partner to like play this thing, but their partners have come to them and said, "Hey, like, are you doing this Disney thing? Do you want that?" Like it's some of these because I think it's a whole part of like the movies. Disney itself had a 100% reach across crits. Doesn't matter whether they're boy or girl, or just you're gonna be exposed to it. So the amount of stories I'm hearing where their wives are coming to me like, "Hey, I will play this game with you."
Majority of my like day 1, day 2 sales of Disney Lorcana was from families.
Yeah, it's
so it
good.
was like people
It's
coming
good.
through being like, I'm getting my partner into Magic. So I'm getting my partner into a card game. I want to try Disney Lorcana.
Yeah.
Or people were getting their girlfriend in. I had a dad come through and he was like, I'm a father of 4 daughters. They've been nagging me about Disney Lorcana all week.
Yeah.
So that was very interesting to see as well.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
I think it's that like nerd guy. Ultimate life goal is to get your partner to come play WoW or card games with you, and it's like it's a hard stretch sometimes. Like you meet some of the partners in there, and you're having a crack, and you can tell they're doing it for the partner. You're like, "Oh, you're enjoying it." You can see in their face they're like, "Oh, I am doing this for him."
But now you have a hard pitch, right? So now you can be like, hey, do you like Sleeping
Right.
Beauty?
So now the issue is when you play the game with like, let's say a family of 4, let's say young children come in, and then you play with a meta gamer.
No, I'm no mercy. I got to teach those kids a lesson. They got to learn today what
So
the
a
real
lot of
world's
people
like.
were in set 1 to 4. There's a simple card that does what Wrath of God do. So instead of like destroy all creatures, it's like banish all characters.
Got it.
So a lot of people
I like the wording. It's very PC wording.
Yeah. So you banish the characters, right? All characters. So a lot of people are calling for the card to get banned because it's so powerful. I'm like, oh, that's not as toxic yet.
Yeah.
So currently the set for meta is bounce.
William
So-
has the early scoop on the metagame.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of bounce and a lot of like discards. So you can't play the game if you have no hand, right?
Yeah.
So there's a new deck that just discard your whole hand.
Interesting.
Yeah, ETB, like enter the battlefield. When you play this card, you discard a card.
It is funny to consider like the mergers of toxic gaming, a thing where you're like trying to sing a song. So like the two things don't match.
The guy
You
who
have
won.
young little Jimmy come in with his pre-con deck, sit down at the table with Lorcana.
So the issue is the first guy who won the first Disney like main tournament, right, like a Grand Prix, right, was a pro Magic player.
Yeah, okay, so I was going to touch on this. It makes a lot of sense because having played a bit of Lorcana now and read the rulebook, the game is very, very, very inspired by Magic the Gathering. It's a lot of mechanics are 1-for-1 Magic the Gathering. So it makes sense to me that someone that's very good at Magic will be good at Lorcana.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think it just makes so much sense. Like I know, like the gameplay for One Piece and Flesh and Blood, other like big core games, is very different to Magic the Gathering. But Magic Gathering is regularly considered the best TCG out there, and in line with that, essentially the best board game that's ever been created. It's complex, it's fun, it's engaging. It has all these elements. It's maybe sometimes too complex, but for people that want that, it's there. So why buck the trend? Why make it too much different? I get why they've done it that way.
So I just saw on Twitter, right? Magic just banned this card from Modern Horizons 3 before it got launched.
Wait, did it?
In
Wait,
Pauper.
there's already a ban?
Yeah, this is like banning ahead of.
So William's very vigorously waving a card around in front of us.
So
what is
I
it
didn't know
you've
this.
got?
Was it just announced?
Yeah, just announced, and this is
Just
gonna
tonight?
be just announced. So
Hot news.
this is your kind of deck. Kang.
Oh no!
Yes.
No, this is the card that I wanted to play with in Pauper.
So that's why they banned it. You can tell.
I knew it was too good. I looked at it and I was like, oh,
What does
there's
it do?
chance.
Read it
All
out.
right, so it's called Cranial Ram. It's a red-black artifact for 1 red and 1 black. It's an equipment that has a living weapon, which means it's an equipment that comes in with a creature.
Yeah.
Equipped creature gets +X+1, where X is the number of artifacts you control.
Dude,
So it's a 2-mana creature that immediately gets massive of how many artifacts you
And
have.
it's a common, is it?
Yeah, it's common. Well, this matters because artifacts in Pauper are already really strong, right? Because the artifact lands are legal.
Right.
Affinity artifacts are very, very strong already. So I imagine they looked at this card and they were like, nope, it's too similar to a card we've banned in the past, which is ATOG. ATOG, where there's a similar idea where every artifact you sacrifice makes ATOG massive.
Yeah.
And they probably looked at Cranial Ram was like, too similar to ATOG. We're not going to allow this. Let's just get rid of it. But I was looking forward to it because it's a cool card and it looks like a xenomorph.
I do. There's something to be said for the thing that Kang wanted to do being banned because it's toxic.
You know, it's not the first time. I'm used to it in Pauper, right? Because in Pauper, we had last Modern Horizons, actually, we had Sojourner's Companion come out. And I was like, this card is fantastic for my Pauper deck. Gets banned within the first 2 weeks. All right, it's fine. They continue to ban cards out of my deck. It's fine. And they ban ATOG. I'm out of Pauper. I'm sad. I'm a sad boy.
All right, this is a freaky looking card.
Yeah, it looks like a xenomorph, dude. Like one of those things that HR guy drew.
I was like looking at it like, oh, we're gonna ban this card before it's released. I'm like, oh, okay.
So like, touching quickly right back on Lorcana. So I played a couple games of Lorcana, plays a lot of like Magic, which also means that it's very easy to translate your skills. It's actually quite easy to pick up because it's Magic the Gathering. There is a part of Lorcana that I've yet to make my mind on yet, right? Look, in Lorcana, everything is sorcery speed. So in Magic, sorcery speed basically means you're only allowed to play on your turn. There's no, like, if the other player is acting, I can interact on their turn, which is tricky for me because in my brain, coming from Magic the Gathering, there's so many parts of interaction which I like interacting on an opponent's turn. Granted, making everything just sorcery speed simplifies the game down a lot, which makes a lot of sense because they're trying to make the game family friendly. And
that's right.
It also means that it's easier if they wanted to make a digital version of the game in the future. Yeah. Having everything play on your turn is a lot simpler. It's one of those things where like I haven't played enough games yet. I haven't wrapped my head around it yet. It just feels like a missed opportunity, right?
Not really. Like if you see other new card games like One Piece, there's no interaction.
But you still can do things on your opponent's turn by discarding cards.
Correct, but only as a reaction.
Because in Lorcana, there's no blocking. You can't even like. There's absolute.
Because you're creating your own thing, right?
Yeah, it's straight up. If it's your opponent's turn, you just sit and watch.
Yeah. So it's only set 3 or 4 though, right? So
it is early days.
So it's like maybe there's wiggle room there to add that in the future if they would need
I think
to.
it's like maybe there's like a reaction phase. So like for One Piece, you have a reaction phase, and there's a phase for it. So every time you attack, you can block.
Correct.
That's it. Like you can't like interrupt.
But think about how much mind games and potential that adds to One Piece. In One Piece, because now like you have to always consider, am I going to hold cards for my opponent's turn?
Correct.
What resources I can use, right? Same thing in Flesh and Blood as well, where you're prepping a lot for your opponent's turn, cards you used to block.
Right.
Magic the Gathering, we have entire cards dedicated to playing on opponent's turns, instant speed cards, flash cards. And then I go to Lorcana. It is still like, okay, this is still in early days and I don't know too much about the game just yet. So I'm kind of just speaking on, my impressions. I goes to my opponent's turn. I just kind of wait for my setup to happen. I wait for what I've set up in previous turns to happen, which, it's a tricky mindset to get around.
So you still can play.
I like interaction.
Like there's a card like A Whole New World, right? Which is the Aladdin card, which it's pretty much a Wheel of Fortune. Mm-hmm. So you discard your whole hand and you draw 7 cards. So that is something you can play to interrupt your opponent's turn as well. If your opponent have like a huge hand, and you just play a whole new world when you have like 0 hand.
Correct.
Yeah.
You just discard it. Like
There's still plenty of things to do on your turn, and you're definitely still interacting with your opponent. But
Yeah.
I'm just missing that little. It's the magic player in me. It's that like me being used
On
to
the
a certain-
stack.
I wonder if anything that takes more planning because you have to make sure that you have to achieve in your turn, like the preparation and the thought has to go into more. You
think
don't have
so.
time to react.
it's a
later on.
value. Like you need to make full use of your resources
Yeah,
and your cards in your turn.
Because I guess if you leave your turn only thinking about what you're trying to achieve and not what your opponent's trying to achieve, you don't have the opportunity to like fix your mistakes or what you've not thought about in their turn. So you have to leave your turn being well prepared.
So there's a term like for One Piece where we stand. So do not attack.
Yeah.
There's a term for like because of these games, right? We can't interact. So instead of you going for a game or going for a kill, you don't do it because if you do it, they can clear a board.
They can swing back.
So what you do is you just stand ready, and your opponents like have to think now. Like that's the interaction.
That's a very like martial arts kind of like
Like a
concept of,
defensive,
like, like a defensive stance. Absolutely.
In
Yeah.
Magic, it would be like if you pass with all your mana untapped.
Yes.
pretty
Yeah,
much
true.
the same
Yeah.
thing. So you're playing that particular game instead of just using your opponent's turn to play. You play like maximum like value on your turn. Like you need to make sure
You're
like
prepping.
you don't
future
get
turns.
your board gets wiped during his turn.
I imagine that's going to happen a lot as I play more Lorcana and I get more used to how it plays. Because in Lorcana, your creatures can only be terminology can only be challenged or attacked
When it's tapped, right?
If they're tapped.
Yeah.
So if you just like in One Piece, if you stand guard,
Yeah.
your stuff can't be attacked.
Yeah. So that's how you play the game. Like instead of just going for the game like to win, you don't, because there's a lot of like you want to go for like a massive turn, right? So you just build your board, go wide.
So you're looking for a combo. It's essentially
Yeah.
a combo. It's where you're stringing out. And if you pull your combo at the wrong time, you leave yourself open to being essentially.
Yeah. There is a part of Lorcana that I do really like though, and I like the mechanic of it a lot. It's a similar mechanic in Pokemon where you can take a character, say
Evolve?
for example, Evolve. I think it's called Shift in Lorcana.
Sing a song.
No, sing a song is different.
can sing?
So there's a mechanic, I think it's called Shift, where like let's say I have a Aladdin on the board and I have another Aladdin in my hand that's of like a bigger mana cost. Oftentimes they'll have a keyword which lets you play the new Aladdin replacing the old Aladdin.
Interesting.
And it feels very much like an evolution of your character.
So
And
using magic terms, because that's the only thing I've got, is there like an Aladdin
Mutate.
subtype, essentially?
Yeah.
So like a,
No, it's just follow the name.
So it just has to have the name on the
it'll,
card.
be like, it'll be like Morph.
I guess it's
Yeah.
clear. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Aladdin.
And they theme it and it looks like they theme it. I'm not exactly sure yet, but you have like Aladdin as like a street kid, and then Aladdin as like that pretend prince.
Prince,
And
yeah.
then Aladdin as a final form as like the real prince.
Final
and
form.
It's like him evolving. It's
Super
cool.
Saiyan.
Yeah, Super Saiyan Aladdin type 3.
Ultra Instinct.
I imagine this like some dystopian like Mickey Mouse with like 10 heads and like the rat from Warhammer Fantasy, the big conglomerate thing is like
Yeah. But I like the mechanic a lot, and it's a fun take on taking these iconic characters and taking them through that story. And it also means that your board isn't necessarily going to be full of the same character. You
Yeah.
have this evolution of the
So you
character.
guys have both opened a lot of cards at this point, right? Have you got a favorite character you've seen so far?
I've
Elsa.
opened a couple characters. I've opened a couple packs.
You're going Elsa for the meta game over there, right? You don't give a fuck about Elsa.
William is flexing Elsa because I think Enchanted Elsa is like $1,200 right now.
Yeah.
Did you get one, did you?
I got one.
Why you like this, William? Why you have all that luck?
I will say though, I was a little bit jealous. I think we have a regular of ours, Riley.
Yeah.
Oh, Riley.
Riley's known for cracking packs. Right?
Yeah.
He came in here and he put a couple packs of Lorcana and he pulled like an Enchanted Tinkerbell.
Yeah, good
which
job.
is the Enchanted cards in Lorcana are like borderless.
Foil.
There's like full art foils, right? And they have used alternate arts. And he pulled the Tinkerbell and I was like, oh, that's really cool because I like Peter Pan. I like Peter Pan. I don't know what like the Tinkerbell card does, but it's cool.
Riley was in the shop because Riley's a regular. He's a good regular of ours. He comes and he's a big proponent of cracking packs, getting that a bit of dopamine out.
He has a dedicated card on the wall called Pack Goblin, which is just him.
And I came in the door the other day, and I go to sit down, and he hawks over at me. He's like, "Hey, you want to buy a shiny Tinkerbell?" And I was like, I was not 100% in the Lorcana mode yet. And I was like, "What are you talking about?"
Sounds like a drug, bro.
I think he wanted that $400 so he can buy more packs.
Yeah. And then you've seen it on like the Lorcana Facebook groups, all the communities. Everyone's getting wild cracking packs and stuff.
Yeah.
For me right now, it's hard for me to have like a favorite card. I mean, sorry, like a favorite character yet because I don't know how they play. I mean, there's thematically favorite characters I like. Like I like Lion King, right?
Yeah,
I
it's funny you
like
say that because
Lilo
like
and
Lion King
Stitch.
was I remember my mum said that like when I was a kid, the two things I watched was Lion King on repeat, just on VCR on repeat. It was like that and the Phantom Menace.
Wait, it's funny that you mentioned Lion King because for me, when I was a poor immigrant child and we couldn't afford real entertainment, one of the earliest memories I have was with my mom. We walked to a Video Easy,
Yeah,
and we rented out the VHS for Lion King.
we peaked. That's peak children.
Wait.
Everything sucks now.
So-
we peaked
Was it?
children. Yeah,
Was it though?
V-
You got like one movie a week, bro.
Bro, but how much more important did that mean now?
Yeah, true.
Like my son will like flick through the 6 different things I pay for, like Netflix and Disney Plus and shit, and he'd be like, "There's nothing."
Watching
good to
Finding
watch." And
Nemo
I'm
for the first time as a
"Come on,
kid
bro."
blew my brain.
So, talking about Locana, right? Do you think that it will have Star Wars coming into them, or because there's already like a Star Wars game, right?
Well, and Magic the Gathering has a contract for Star Wars.
Really?
I think
Oh, Marvel. Sorry, Marvel,
right?
Marvel,
I
which is
think
Disney,
right now, it feels like Disney Lorcana is really focused on classic Disney, and they want to stick it to being Disney.
All right.
I imagine with enough time, we'll
Yeah,
diversify.
it will, but it's probably
Let me
6-7 years
ask
down the
another
track.
question.
There's so
There's so much
material.
Is
they can
Toy
put in.
Story part of Disney?
Yes, Pixar is
Pixar?
now.
Yeah.
Oh
Pixar is
shit!
now. It is
I
now.
want a Buzz Lightyear enchanted
Now that
guy.
you mention it, that would you know what? I like the idea of that. I want some Toy Story. Oh wait, there's a Scrooge McDuck precon in like set 3 that I want to get my hands on because I looked at what the Scrooge McDuck does, and like he literally like gives you items. Like he's a materialistic. I thought that was cool.
Makes sense.
Donate.
There'll be, what was that? What was that Nightmare Before Christmas? But the duck version of it.
Yeah, it was Donald Duck, right, and his little like cousins or nephews.
Yeah, what's the Christmas? Is a Christmas Tale or something, right? And he's where
Ducktail.
where the he cut like is that what it is?
I think DuckTales.
I
Is it
don't know.
DuckTales? I didn't actually watch that as a child.
There was that
Maybe
like,
it was after me.
I don't know. It was like that the guy has the rich miserly guy who he's being a piece of shit, and then before Christmas he has like all those visions, and then like he becomes a nice guy on Christmas Day. There was a duck version of that.
Yeah, Scrooge McDuck.
It is.
It's
That's
the
what it is?
materialistic one.
Oh, okay.
We had in one of the chats a couple of days back. We were talking about Lorcana, and they were like, "Hey, if you could be any character in the Disney universe, what would you be?" And I was like, not very creative, and I was like, "Just give me Scrooge McDuck. I'll be Scrooge McDuck in the Disney universe. I just want to have a giant vault full of gold.
Yeah.
Easy."
It's crazy.
Give the side eye to anybody who wants to be Steamboat Miller.
Yeah. You got like all these people naming things like, Tarzan. Terrible. I don't want to be in the jungle. I'll get like something in
Yeah,
dark.
Tarzan. What
What
about
about
Pocahontas?
Tarzan?
Oh, Pocahontas is there.
I don't really Pocahontas. I want modern day. Give me a lot of gold. Be rich.
What is
Buy a
new
Lambo.
Disney movie?
Yeah. You can be
Yeah, what is new Disney?
Well, Minions
honestly.
is Minions part of Disney?
I don't know.
No, that's something else.
All right.
For me, Disney stopped being Disney past Frozen. I can't name anything after Frozen. Maybe Tangled.
Tangled's before
after
Frozen.
After that, I can't remember anything for Disney.
There's like they got a little wokey, right? Because there's like now the puberty one that's pretty recent. Where
The Red?
Yeah, there's Red, yeah, and then there was the one before that, which was like it was in the girl's brain, and it's like all like the different emotions, like puberty.
Inside Out.
That's Inside
Yeah,
Out.
yeah,
Is that Disney?
No, that was big. That was Inside Out was big. I think.
Yeah, I think that's Disney. Pretty sure.
Hold on, let me check.
Is there because there's Inside Out 2
You know what it
coming
is?
as well,
You know
right?
this? There's a hard cut of when I stopped watching Disney and started watching Shrek as a kid. You know exactly what I mean,
Wait,
right? Like,
okay, so Inside Out is Pixar.
you know when like animation started becoming a little bit more teenagey.
Yeah, it's Walt Disney. So we're gonna get Inside Out. So we're gonna have anger, disgust.
All the emotions.
What about the four emotions in one card, like the combo?
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, getting destroyed in Lorcana.
Can you
by disgust.
play 4 emotions like the emotions deck, and then you have 4 of these cards? It becomes like the
Oh my
Yu-Gi-Oh!
god, Planet of the Apes is owned by Disney.
Oh,
Oh my god, and Power Rangers, bro.
Power Rangers.
What?
Yeah, there's some pretty crazy stuff here. Like Mike is owned by Disney.
No, I mean like Disney though.
Yeah, well, I'm
But
just going with what I got.
hardcore
Right?
Disney though, there's a couple honorable mentions I have as well, like Atlantis. I watched Atlantis as a kid. I thought that was cool. Treasure Planet.
Ice Age and Dinosaur.
Yo.
Wait, remember Dinosaur? That's
Oh
Disney.
my
That's proper
God.
Disney.
Despicable Me 4. If Despicable Me is Disney.
So that means the Minions are Disney.
Oh my god, we gotta banana.
Oh my. Williams found his deck. Dude.
Banana.
I've never seen the man so keen to play deck.
Zootopia?
Oh,
absolutely.
Zootopia was actually good. I watched that with Lucas. That was
you're
actually really good.
Zootopia is definitely
Yeah.
one of the bigger ones.
Independence Day is owned by Disney.
Oh shit.
Also, the 13th Warrior. I don't know if you
what
remember
the
this, but
hell?
it's very graphic.
All right, okay. The truth is, there's a hard cut of classic Disney became Pixar for me. Everything now is all Pixar, right?
Right.
Yeah, true.
So
I can't believe on this list of Disney movies, I'm not seeing any of the normal. Where's all the normal Disney shit?
what did you Google?
I just literally wrote Disney list of movies all time, and I got all
The
this
banana.
other trash.
Oh man. Well, we've been
crazy.
talking about card games for now an hour and a half. This is we had a while back a couple episodes where it was like the super special long episode, and we've just had long episodes.
Monsters Inc. and A Nightmare Before Christmas.
Monsters Inc. Dude,
Yeah.
that'd be a good one.
Well,
Yeah.
Sully.
For some
Yeah,
reason,
yeah.
I'm on the horror tab, and Monsters Inc.
Wait, I think
Pirates of the Caribbean is owned by Disney.
Yes, it
Wait,
is.
I think
Jack
Sully is
Sparrow.
coming out in a future set. I think.
Have they announced it?
Wait, I think so. Wait, Locana.
I think it's easy to underestimate how far Disney's reaches because Disney owns like everything, man. We can have
Wait,
so many.
yeah,
properties.
there's a card called Scream Canister, and that's Woody.
Yeah, we've talked about Toy Story. Right?
Yeah, I know. That's the actual card, Woody.
Woody's already a car.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Toy Story's already a
Friendly
car.
sheriff.
All right, you know what this is okay because I want to keep that Disney shine, that special charm of Disney. I'm not gonna look at any card spoilers for the sets. I'm just gonna go as
How
they
are
come
you
out.
going to do that in the
Bro,
shop? That doesn't
it's-
make any sense.
No, I'm just
It's
gonna,
already
as in
released.
like as the sets come out, as people crack packs, I'll discover
True.
the cards naturally.
One of the favorite pastimes of our customers is coming to us and telling us a list of things that we know.
Yeah.
So you're gonna.
True.
There's no way.
Like for
you're
me-
getting spoiler free.
For me, it was actually a really cool moment when I cracked a pack and I pulled Kronk from Emperor's New Groove, and I was like, "Oh, dude, the Emperor's New Groove!"
So
I
good.
watched that on like Saturday morning TV when I was a child.
It's legitimately crazy how hard Disney had like a stranglehold on like us growing up as kids, right?
Our brains were just owned by Walt Disney, right?
Yeah,
So, and now our adult,
This is William like googling pictures of Woody.
it all comes back around. It's all Disney, baby.
I want a Buzz Lightyear card. Enchanted, please.
There you go.
I hope that when that comes out, there's a Bud Lightyear starter deck. Remember how in the original
To
Toy Story,
Infinity
how
and
he-
Beyond is a card.
he would come in that box.
It
like
is, yeah.
Yeah. To Infinity and Beyond is a card.
it's already a card now.
I mean, it should
Oh,
be
it
a
should
card,
be.
right?
Yeah.
Because A Whole New World is a card, right?
Well, you have daughters, William. So do you still watch a lot of Disney with your daughters?
They're not into like Disney anymore. Like they're watching Pokemon,
it's William. They're probably learning like I don't know,
One Piece. No, they hate One Piece.
not like an
They're
algebra
ahead
or
in
something.
they're ahead in their computer science course.
Yeah,
now,
I
man.
feel like William's got them learning stuff, right?
Not
He's
really.
not as well. You know.
My daughter does what she wants. She loves reading, so she reads.
I'm so jealous.
Yeah, she does all the finances for Williams.
If you ever want to swap kids, William, you can. I'll do you a bargain.
She reads a lot. She reads a lot.
One of the biggest mistakes I had is like because I had Lucas when I was like essentially.
Dude, I was
18.
going into that sentence real hard. It was like one of the biggest mistakes from like talking about Lucas. I was like, whoa.
Well, I was young when I had Lucas, right? I was 18, and I was like still learning how to be like a real adult, let alone be a parent. And I wish I like tried to get Lucas into reading because I was a big reader. Like I read books all the time.
But he's got ADHD, right?
Yeah,
So it's got to be
I guess
already
so.
hard.
He's got
enough
to
for
he's
him.
got to get into something like so. You know, the one thing he did read a lot of was like exposés on soccer players. He had like it was like these little pamphlet books, and it would just be like talk about the soccer.
You know
players'
what? I
life.
get that entirely because he's already. It's that ADHD brain is like you have to. If you already have an interest in a thing, you go hard.
Yeah, you go hard. Yeah. And I think that's what I think is like he needs to find his thing that's going to go hard in, other than just like hanging out playing FIFA.
It's good. It's good.
Shall we save the candid chat for a later episode?
Yeah.
Can do. We've been going for a while. What are we at?
Yeah, I was
an hour
like,
and a half.
yeah, pretty much.
Do you know
It's
what?
pretty cool.
I actually like these later like chats. You know what I mean? I've had a bit of sleep and I've come into a pretty good. Like I've definitely worked a lot again still this week. I don't want to like blow that out of the
Is it
bag,
a Thursday night special? We call it.
Well, it's you know what, William. I've like how do we feel about changing this up to like Thursday night again?
I don't mind.
I don't mind.
because I'm going to be here anyway. So
Yeah, I
You'll
don't mind
find me
Thursday
on
night.
commitment.
It's
Because I know
okay.
you come from One Piece, and Kang's already here, so I don't have to change up my thing at all too much there.
So because Wednesday, it's just in the middle of the day when I'm like halfway working, and then I have to like finish work and then jump on podcast and then go back to work again.
Well, the only thing I think is because it allowed me to then go back on the truck during the day on a Wednesday, and like money's a thing, so I like maybe being able to get some work back on the truck isn't such a bad idea.
yeah, it's not too bad. Well, we can do that. We can try again.
Yeah. I like doing the organization for the podcast on the podcast.
Me and Danny have switched places, right? Because I think last Thursday episode you had like 2 hours of sleep, sleep deprived.
It's been pretty rough.
And now it's flipped because now I'm like off like I think I'm like approaching that like 28 hours awake now. So
yeah.
So you are like almost done with the uni assignments and
I
exams,
finished
right?
one exam today. Feeling good for the out of 2, reasonable.
Okay,
very reasonable. You know, like finished one exam today.
Tomorrow?
Feeling good for the exam. Not feeling great for the semester still. So we'll see how we go.
Oh no.
When's the next exam?
Next week I got 6
All
days.
right, it's okay.
Well, so do we?
It was hardcore today though, dude. I haven't slept for like 28 hours.
You said that when you came back to your car, it was underwater. Is that
it's been
underwater?
a day, bro. I've been like, you know, just sitting in front of a monitor all day, so my like eyes are like on fire. I haven't slept for like 28 hours. I've had probably like 12 Red Bulls, 0 food. So in the middle of the day, I went to the restroom and yacked. So it was very cool.
Oh, stress or you reckon?
I don't know, dude. It was everything. my body was a mess.
So is this official marker to say release for podcast is now Saturdays? We'll give Kang.
Nah, Thursday nights. Let's do it.
What?
I like it. I'm feeling good right now, dude. We're past that threshold. So.
I feel like Will and I can collectively give you like maybe launch it on a Friday.
I walked in on all the boards. I picked up another coffee, dude. I'm locked in. Dude. I'm good.
Friday night special, FNM.
Dude, there's a weird thing that happens when you have too much Red Bull
it's not
and
FNM.
caffeine, where you just fall asleep.
FNB.
It short circuits the synapses.
Friday night podcast.
Yeah.
I like that,
FNB.
see?
See? We give promos out.
Just to ourselves. We should make our own broadcast promos. That's a good idea.
We have quite a few plans, though.
I can't believe we've never. Every time I think about it, we should have tokens, Burger Boy tokens.
Hold on,
we have
hold
a
on.
burger restaurant. Why are we not got food tokens for Magic the Gathering that are Burger Boy tokens? It's
I don't know.
such a good idea.
All right, we're gonna do that. Wait, before we end the podcast,
At this point now,
What?
we're not ending. We keep going.
I know where this
what
is
about
going.
our Patreon, man?
Hey-o.
Hey, you're supposed to find out the
right.
mysterious
So
member.
it's a real fucking mess, all right?
All right.
Because I logged onto the computer, I looked at the
Okay.
list. Everybody that's there as part of the 11 is everyone we've mentioned before.
We've lost what? So we lost
I don't
track
know,
somewhere.
bro. It's look, man. I'm not a master at this. All right. We are at 11, including you.
All right.
So free William. Which
Willie.
which means we have exactly 10, but all of the 10 is exactly everybody we mentioned.
So
previously.
we've already given
We've
everyone
been
a
at
shout
10
out.
for a little
We're
bit.
good.
Yeah.
oh my god.
worry about it.
Everyone's shouted
All
out.
right, all
I
right.
did cop shit from Greg this week
Yeah.
because I said in one podcast, I was like, I'll give a spiel on everybody who signs up.
Yeah.
And then in the next podcast, clearly I'd forgotten that 3 seconds after I'd said it because, you know, it's how this works. So then in the next podcast, I was like, Greg signed up. Good job, Greg. and then, you know, this whole thing is a distracted mess. So we moved on straight away. And then Greg, I was here covering your shift on Tuesday. And Greg's like, I have a bone to pick with you. And I was like, in my head straight away, I was like, which one of the 4 ways I could have accidentally fucked Greg without meaning to?
All right. If you have not signed up for our podcast, do sign up for our podcast and sign up for our Patreon as well to support us in every way possible.
Yeah, we got a lot of big plans. Like we want to get the visual side of the podcast going as well. We're really renovating this entire corner space. If you're a regular of Northern Boards, you'll see this constantly a shape-shifting corner of the room.
It's not great, but it's also not the worst it's ever been.
It also-
I'm feeling alright
It
about
looks rustic.
That's one way to put
Rusty.
it. It's always changing.
This whole markets, man, today was a nightmare. Like, obviously, I don't know if you're in Perth. Like, I assume the majority of our listeners are in Perth.
We have a new banner as well.
We do have a new banner. I thought I paid for money for that, so I use it for advertising. For the
Oh,
podcast.
let's go.
But it was absolute bucketing down with rain today. Like, I don't know what is going on with our Perth weather, but it's bucketing. In front of our shop, where there was a torrential, like Amazon-style river going in front of our shop. Multiple people stood in this giant like riverbed of water coming through, and like multiple people's like socks and shoes and pants were completely soaked. So it's like they're like coming upside. I don't remember. There's a point. I had a point. Telling
I'm
the
glad
story,
it wasn't just
and
me.
I've completely forgotten about what it was.
Yeah.
It was like there was like multiple guys coming through, and I felt pretty bad. So I was like, you know.
Yeah, support us.
There was a fucking point. I was saying that for a reason. I can't.
It's okay.
Made myself
It's okay.
annoyed.
As long as you support us, you support us.
William cracked an entire box a collector booster box of Modern Horizons 3 that imagine if we had a video camera.
Yeah.
You know, a visual podcast.
I did
episode.
it. So it's really bad. I did a shit job, but I did do a cracking pack video. So I might post it, might not.
Yeah,
Danny's
nice.
feeling cute, so I might
down
delete
to be-
later.
All right, can we safely say if we reach 20, we'll have visual?
I'm not.
Whoa, Will, we need to get swole first. We need to get jacked. Right, a couple episodes back, we talked about getting huge.
I went to the gym 3 weeks in a row. Like 4 times, 4 days,
That's you
times a
two,
week,
bro.
3 weeks in a row. Yeah, get Jack William.
Yeah,
come on.
I'm getting slim, not getting jacked.
I did push-ups
weak.
the other day, and my left elbow exploded. So
When Kane comes in and he's like, I did a push up and he nearly broke his elbow. It's pathetic.
it was a good day. Yeah, it was a good day.
Deary me.
All right.
Yeah, 20. I sincerely promise that if we get 20 patrons, we'll have a visual podcast. It might be an iPhone in a tripod,
It's fine. Visual's visual, right?
If you really want to see us,
but it is the. Yeah, you are. I can promise you're missing out. Seeing us is the best bit.
nice. Or you can come to Northern Boards.
Yeah,
and
you can just
see
hang
us.
out. Wait, that's what we're gonna. We're gonna screen here, and then we'll just let them watch us while we record.
We're in a
like in a
museum
zoo.
exhibit.
Yeah.
Might as well just open this window up, like people can see through, right?
Could do.
Yeah.
That would be a fucking nightmare. I've been a best man at a couple weddings, and I've done a bunch of sales stuff in front of people. I've never had a problem having speeches and talking in front of even 100 people, right? And that's not a problem. But the concept of us sitting here while there's people in there, in the window, just looking at us, what a nightmare.
So we're gonna set up a burger tokens. All right,
Yeah.
burger tokens is coming up.
That I can achieve.
all right. So
I'll workshop the camera.
yeah, and then we'll see what we can do in the later episodes.
Because I think I'm really keen to do some pack openings and stuff. We want to work on this this role play thing we've been talking about as well.
Yeah.
We got-
Yeah, maybe next episode we'll talk about it.
we received our rule books. I've been reading through mine at home. I don't know if you've been having a bit of a gander through yours. Obviously, uni's a bit rough at the moment, so haven't got started there.
William is a squeak.
William is a squig.
in many ways.
Intellectual squeak, like a sir. You know, have you? I don't know whether there is a chip like a potato chip called Mr. Potato. Have you seen it? Wait,
you
I'll
mean
show
the
you.
you mean the Pringles guy?
I've got a squig story while we're here. Do you know in the original law of 40K, the original law, it's been retconned out, but squigs were actually Tyranids. And they
No?
were sent to envelop they were the original scouts of the Tyranids to ingest, and then in the story they eventually got replaced with Ripper swarms. So it was because the whole point of the
That was a cool piece.
Yeah,
That's a cool piece
Pringles.
of law.
yeah.
So the logo of Pringles is like my squig, right? So imagine the mustache is on the squig.
We
So
have
it's
visual.
like
Ladies
a
and gentlemen, we
sir.
have the Pringles.
We'll
now.
have to get Eli, one of the
Like
the
a
sick
star.
regulars of our Northern Boards, to draw our characters.
Very
so we
nice.
can give descriptions of our characters. If you're going to be a roleplay fantasy character, what are you going to be, Kang?
Oh, I want to read the rule book and I really want to dive myself in. So
Yeah,
I
but
can't
before
comment.
you know any rules, no fucking metagaming, man.
All right.
What?
I always fall back on being some sort of weird magic boy, necromancer.
Dude,
guy.
I'm the magic boy.
Yeah.
I am the
You could literally be
Intellectual.
his pet.
If it's not some magic caster weird dude, it always ends up being just some edgelord with a sword. I'll be honest.
Edgelord with a
I'll be
sword.
honest. It's not. I'm not that creative. with
look at me.
characters.
I am the squeak.
Well, we'll save it.
I
We'll save
am
it for
the
next
squeak now.
episode because I've properly DM'd for 7 something years now. When I was out of high school and had a lot more free time on my hands, I did a lot of DMing. So I have a lot of stories about roleplay and stuff back in the day. So we can probably save it for next episode.
Do we all want to be led by an edgelord though? I'm not sure that's.
You know what? I don't want to toot my own horn, but I think I'm an alright DM.
I don't know about you, William, but I'm actually not cool enough to know what edgelord really
So
means. It just sounds dodgy.
Here's the tricky part, right? Because there's 3 of us, and one of us needs to be the game master, and that's not a lot of players. Should we also have someone else jump on?
I think we should find 2 other theoretically different gender people to join us.
Can you imagine if they jump on and they're also just diehard wannabe squigs?
Oh yeah! Or it's just
squad.
4 people pretending to be squigs like pigs in a paddock.
And just like that, we're gonna call it the end of the episode. So, ladies and gentlemen,
We
this
just
is
keep
probably-
ending on the dodgiest
This is the
shit.
longest episode of the broadcast.
Is it?
Honestly,
Nice.
it's been a riot tonight, gentlemen. It's been fun.
Yeah, tell if it was good. Sign up for $4.50 to tell if it was good or bad.
This is-
I'm
this
happy.
is-
You can be bad.
Yeah,
Just
this
tell
is
us.
when I'm
Pay me money.
Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. You know, put a comment in the
then he's gonna
section.
make a next account, which is Twitter.
Let us know.
Follow us on Twitter
Let
as
us
well.
know what you want from the podcast.
I'll make
guys.
an XXX account.
Always taking feedback. All right. Thank you very much for listening,
ya.
guys. We'll catch you guys on the next episode.